Okay, we are live. Welcome back, everybody, to the Unnamed Production Company. Today we are playing Session 2 of the Army of Kyrios Pactrosi, and we are in the invasion stage. So we will be pushing, hopefully, across the mountains today and invading foreign territory, which I'm very excited about. And I'm going to let Rory take it away here in just a minute, but I did just want to say really fast that I did play a promotional video in the starting soon screen for a game that we have coming up next week. So on the 27th, we will be running a game in, actually Chris will be running a game, sort of a Halloween themed game, a zombie apocalypse game here on Genesis on the channel. So that should be really exciting. We're really looking forward to that. So tune in, make sure you tune into that on the 27th. That is next Saturday, right around 8 p.m. Eastern. And it should be fun. It should be a lot of fun. With that, Rory, take it away.
Okay. Yes, we are back in Domhanda, or more specifically the Medita region, and we have the army of Kyrios Pactrosi. They have survived a insurrection within their own forces. However, although they may have lost a few lives in Bronte's treacherous act, it ended up being pretty positive overall for the slave Europa, now known as Ashe, because she was freed and given the respect that a warrior of her renown is due. Axios has now taken on the role of general, thanks to Bronte's being a traitor, and Antaeus has moved up to the rank of commander. And so where we pick up in the semi beat up camp of Kyrios Pactrosi, there's a few damaged linens, post beams from the fighting the night before, but our three players here are going to be waking up. Antaeus in his new commander's quarters, Axios in his new general's quarters, and I will let Ashe tell us where a newly freed soldier of the Pactrosi army wakes up in one moment. I will just say that all three of them, as their eyes kind of flitter open, the first thing on their mind is the speech that Kyrios Pactrosi gave the night before, right after the fighting. And in it, he finally stood up and told the entire army his plans, not to go raiding this summer, but instead to invade. He explained the risk. He explained that the kingdom that they are betraying right now could harm their families back home, could seek vengeance on them later, even if they are successful in their sack of Pelios. And he explains all of this and says that he himself is taking a risk as well. And he just drives home the point that this is why that this invasion must be swift and it must be complete, because they must then return and fetch their loved ones by sea. And so basically he reveals all of his plans to the soldiers, and then he had spoke with our group of generals and commanders, and they had said that they were going to be seeking some guidance over the mountains before heading off. And so they wake up. All of you guys will be waking up to the sound of the cavalry riding off, as they had planned to leave early in the morning. And so let's start with Ashe. Why don't you tell us where you are? Because I don't know where a freed soldier, their first night of freedom, what they did the night before, and where they wake up. Why don't you tell us?
So I imagine that she took advantage of her newly found freedom and enjoyed some time, maybe at the outer edges of the camp, just observing and reflecting But I would think that at the end of the night, when she actually went to rest, she probably ended up in the tents with the main troops, Axios' troops, as befitting a soldier of her rank. So I can imagine her, walking in, feeling pretty proud and pleased and confident, and just taking up a place amongst everyone else and pretending she's not female. Or trying
not flaunting it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to blend in with everybody else.
Yeah.
And so when you do wake up in the standard camp, your hair has kind of like some ashes in it from the fire that kind of burns at the center of a little cohort of cops. So the wind kind of kicks up the ash. You find it in your hair. This is still an improvement, as a helot would have just had to have slept outside the tent of whoever they served. So it's still better to have a bed, but you're certainly not any cleaner. And kind of simultaneously, doesn't care.
She's just so happy to have had a good night's sleep, or at least a better night's sleep than she's accustomed to.
Nice. And Antaeus, the new commander, you're waking up in some new accommodations yourself, unused to having a canvas roof over your head when you sleep. For the first time you do, and the sun is not directly in your eyes.
Yeah, and I think that I imagine I would wake up a little bit later than I might have otherwise, much to my chagrin, and I would look over to whether it was a aide de camp or a slave or whoever it might be that was supposed to wake me up and attend to me, and I think I would kind of grunt, and I would imagine he'd come over, and I would say, "Never let me sleep past the sun's rise again." And he says, "I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry.
Yes,
it's
sir.
just you're a new commander." Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no, yes, sir. Yes, sir. No problem. The general had said that the infantry should sleep, but never again. Never again.
The infantry, maybe, not the commander.
He kind of bows, and he starts. He's going to be pouring water from a pitcher into a small wooden cup at the end table, which as is custom.
Sure. Yep. And I would sort of get up and go about, stretching and washing my face and whatever, and doing the sort of the morning routine, maybe a little quicker than I was expecting because I was going to wake up earlier and I didn't. But that's okay. And then I think as I go through that, I would, once I was dressed, I would walk out of the tent just a little bit, just to look and survey the men, survey my men in particular, and just see how they're doing, see what the camp is looking like.
Thanks. And so Ashe is going to be in your cohort as well, so that will include her.
Okay.
And at the same time, so if we move the camera over to the general's tent, Axios, you were there. You can tell me, you probably had a hard time sleeping the night before. I don't know if you've been up already or if you are just waking up now.
No, I think he would have been very anxious and probably did not have a good sleep at all throughout the night. The plans were on his mind for invasion. Having been the first time he's heard of this overarching idea from Pactrosi, he has been thinking of ways to prepare himself and his men for the invasion that lays ahead. So if the camera pans up to him, it's kind of you could see maybe bags under his eyes, he's been up for a while and he's hovering over a map of the land, and he's looking at the landscape, trying to figure out what's the best course of action for the invasion.
Very nice. I'm sorry. Hold on one second. I accidentally left my Savage Worlds handbook right there on the table behind me. Give me one moment.
Yep.
Because on occasion we do actually use rules when we play. Not so much on my channel, but over here we do.
Sorry about that. Okay. Yes. Okay. So, you do eventually, you walk out of your tent and you're going to see, the first thing you'll see is Antaeus working up his troops.
Antaeus, I see you have your men ready. Excellent. How do they look?
They look fine. They look ready for a fight, General. But I unfortunately have discovered the burdens of command a little more harshly than I would like. I don't know how you do it.
Ha! It will grow on you as a hag does her husband.
I thought you were going to say that. May I speak frankly, sir?
Of course.
I will admit, I worry this day. I do not think that it will go as we expect. And I believe we lost our GM.
What? No. Oh, sorry. It's the lighting again.
Light went out. Okay, good. I was like,
yeah,
It's not going as we expected.
Yeah.
No, I don't know why my camera keeps doing that.
That's all right. These are ill omens indeed. The gods.
I was like, wait, that doesn't sound in character.
Yeah.
The gods are in darkness.
Yeah. A darkness has fallen over the land. Yeah, but I'll say something like, I feel ill at ease.
Is Ashe with you?
I don't think she's with us or with me per se, but I think she was probably. Is she with me at this point?
If you were whipping up your cohort, then I'll let her say whether or not she rushes right into it or lags behind. But if she joined right in with the rest of the cohort, then she would be there.
Okay, cool.
Ashe?
Yeah, I would definitely hustle to be wherever the rest of the troops are, which I'm sure I'd be used to having seen anyway, but I sure wouldn't do anything to cast any doubts as to my appropriateness of being where I am.
Yeah, so Axios, when you come up there, you don't see her. She's a bit shorter than many of the others, so as they stand in line, you don't quite see her. But Antaeus, you would know that she was there because you would have seen her run up and get in line.
Okay. And sorry, did Axios ask, is Eshe with me in character or out of character?
He would be looking. He would be looking for Eshe, and then he would, if he doesn't see her initially, he would say, "Where is our champion? The one whom we owe a great debt of honor for."
And then I think I would probably sort of instinctively just start to spin to my left, and she would maybe be like a step or two behind, and I would say, "Eshe, please come forward."
And what say you, champion? What do the omens say of our battle that lies ahead?
I think this day bodes well for us. We're ready.
Okay. And you'll see Axios nod, and he'll put his hand on your shoulder there, and he'll say, "It does bode well for us indeed. Commander, I believe we should pray to the gods. Perhaps this will give us the omen we seek."
And yeah, I think I would look, and then I would turn to my men, and I would say, "Phalanx, we move out shortly. Let us ask the gods to bless us in this time of need." And then I think we would assume whatever position, whether we kneel or whatever it is that we do, to ask the gods, to ask would we worship the Greek pantheon, or
you would worship. Well, let's put it this way. I don't have any name. I don't like to come up with hard names, but it'd be a pantheon very like the Greek pantheon, very specific gods for specific things. And not everybody in the group would necessarily be praying to the same god, although the god of war or the god of battle, either one of those would probably be very common.
Yeah, I'd imagine that would be like the official deity of the army. And so I would, something like, let Ares' sword be with us today, and his shield protect us, and let us be fleet of foot through on our journey to the border, and that whole thing. And then I think,
and then the response is like, and they all like kind of cheer and get worked up.
Yeah, and then I think maybe at the very end, I would have sort of instructed my phalanx that, you know, whenever we're getting ready to get pumped, you know, we'll basically take anybody that has shields, we'll bang them on the ground and then bang their spear, and anybody who doesn't have shields will just bang their spear on the ground and then, and so it's, you know, like almost like a just like an intimidation factor, right? And then at the very end, we would let out this like, whoa, and then we're getting pumped.
And sort of as that is happening, you hear it's like 2, 3, maybe 4 horses. And if you kind of look around, you see these 4 horsemen come riding up, and they kind of pull up pretty close to you, Axios, and they're going, 2 of them, the 2 in front, are going to say, "Hi, Lord General. My name is Gregorio, and this is Axios. We were left behind by Alorius, who has assumed the command of the cavalry. We had seen a boy the day before last from a village around here, and it was said that you plan to visit that village for aid in passing the mountains. If that is still your plan, we were told that we could lead a small cohort towards the village, as it would be wise not to approach with our full host."
This is true. The plan remains the same.
So, who shall come with us?
So in this type of situation, I'm just trying to out of character. Would this be like where he would send his best people to, or is this a small mission in the context?
It's completely up to you. So I would say, you know, you don't know what you're going there to get. Some men. I mean, you're probably definitely looking for some scouts for sure, because people there are most familiar with this area. Depends on how much value you place on getting a good scout, and if you want it handled diplomatically or not. You know what I mean? There are some people that you could send that'll just kill some locals, but these are technically loyal Pactrosi people. So you kind of have to weigh the balance of how you want to handle this and send the appropriate people. But like, you're leading like 200 people.
Yeah.
You can imagine that you have a little bit of everything. As a player, if you want to have more control over this, send other player characters. If you're okay with just telling me what kind of people you'd want to send and sending them on their way, then I can handle it via dice and via chance.
Yeah, I think, and just so I understand, if we were to take like me and Teus and Eshe, or if I stayed back or one of the others, like the army, the host is not moving out without them, right?
It could, if you wanted it to. You're the general, so you are totally in control of this situation. If you want to place another commander in charge of marching them to the base of the mountains while you take horses to do this and catch back up, you can totally do that. But you're leaving then your host in somebody else's hands, so you'd want to tell me what kind of person you would leave that in.
Yeah. Okay, so no, I'm gonna stay with the host, and Antaeus and Eshe, I would turn and I would ask Antaeus, "Commander, what is your advice? Should we ourselves prepare the host for the invasion, or do you think it is wise to send yourself or others to seek out this scout?"
And I would say it is unfortunate, but I do not trust anyone else to oversee this in lieu of past events that led us to our current station. So I do believe it is best that I accompany the small contingent of men to oversee it and make sure that everything functions properly, with your leave, of course.
Yes, this is wise. Eshe, can you ensure he is safe?
Yes, sir. It would be my pleasure.
Excellent. Then you have it. Commander, leave your second in command in charge and take Eshe with you and whoever else you find suitable for the mission. Make sure we do not cause a ruckus. These are friends. We need their assistance. We do not want blood on our hands.
Understood.
And Hexos looks down to you, Antaeus and Eshe, and says, we have some extra horses back just that way. And he kind of points to where all the horses were kept the day before, but now most of them will be gone. So just kind of pointing that there's some extra horses there for you. He says, we've saved 4 if you care to take any other followers with you, but otherwise, if it's just the 2 of you, we can be going. So I'm leaving it up to you. You can either travel with these 4 NPCs with you, or you can add an extra 2 NPCs to your group.
And I think
one will move a little slower than the other.
I would, I think I would look to Eshe and I would say, and then I would look back to Hexos and I would say, I think you will find we are more than capable, just the 2 of us. Speed is of the essence. Let us move.
He smirks and says, excellent. Speed is better for us as well. And yes, so just to also let you know, Axios, you had spoken to the Lord Pactrosi. I should have covered this, but he gave you Bronte's horse. A general should always be on a horse. So you would have Bronte's white mare, and you can access that when you do go to leave.
Okay.
Okay. So what I'd like to do here is, well, first of all, I'll let you know that with you leading the army, Axios, it should only take a day to reach the base of the mountains. And perhaps less than that. We'll see. But if you want to do anything else to get your troops ready, you can do that now. We are going to, when you are done with that, we are going to cut to an interlude for Eshe and Antaeus.
Perfect. I would ensure the biggest thing in my guy's mind, I'm looking at his hindrances and he's cautious and doubting Thomas. So he overplans. He doesn't make any rash decisions. That's why he's always asking other people what they think. And even though he prayed to the gods, he doesn't believe in the gods, so he's going to put matters into his own hands. So I think he would make sure that the logistics of this movement are taken care of. He believes that his men can fight, but he wants to ensure there's food, water, enough supplies for a invasion, because he believes once they go out on this mission, if they don't have that stuff, they can possibly fail. So he's going to be very cautious, in particular, with making sure that there's the right food packaging and all the resources and everything ready to be taken.
Okay, so that's perfect. So what I am going to then kind of do, though, is say you are not going to reach the mountains with your host until about the time you'd want to set up camp, because you are so cautious. You are taking all your precautions now, and that's going to add a little bit of time to the leaving time, and therefore will stretch things out a little bit, but you are far less likely to run into any problems along the way as a result.
Okay. Sounds good.
Excellent. Okay. Eshe and Antaeus, you are riding through the woods. It's a light Mediterranean forest, not too deep, and you have your 4 riders with you. You're heading, you can start to get the idea that these people weren't lying when they said they met a boy and they knew roughly where the village was, but they were also not kidding when they said roughly. They don't know exactly where this village is. They seem to be following just a kind of rough estimate. Perhaps someone pointed the direction and nothing more. Wow, that picture didn't blow up very well. And so while you're on your way, there's going to be some time for conversation. So even though you're moving quickly, there are periods of time where they have to stop and try to get their direction. Can each of you please draw a card?
Yep. Let's see. Do you want me to put it on?
Just tell me the suit.
Diamond.
Okay.
Club.
So that diamond in a club. Okay. So, intermittently, whenever you pause, the two of you are going to be striking up conversation. Antaeus, you had diamonds. You should be telling us a tale about something your hero wants or already has. Might be a material possession, recognition, political goal. Basically, what is his ultimate dream in this world? And Ashe, with clubs, and this is perfect for your character, please tell us a tragedy. Describe a tale of tragedy or misfortune from your hero's past, featuring one of the hindrances, if possible. So you can phrase this as if it's happening all at once, but for the viewers, this is kind of a something that's happening over the course of 2 hours or so as they make their way through these woods.
Okay. Chris, did you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I can go first.
Alrighty.
Uh-oh.
You're good.
I got an echo all of a sudden.
I don't really hear it. Oh, wait, yeah, I do.
Found it. Okay. Sorry, that was super distracting. The cat bumped the computer.
Cat.
Yeah. She's way ahead of schedule to be being a pest, too. All right. So, like, what prompted this story, though?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, you guys, why don't you give us a little role play just to lead it in? How do you think you guys would start talking about something like this? Why don't you guys chat first, and just now you know where your character is going to take it, though.
And Chris, I might let you lead with that one, but I would say that I feel like the interaction had been that I never had actually spoken to you, but until you had proven yourself and were no longer a slave, you officially became known as Eshe. Then I actually spoke to you, but again, not a lot. More so as a commander to someone within the army. But I would say maybe it's been like a day, or maybe as we've been traveling along. I think I would have made it known to you that like I am open to conversation now. But you could sense that I'm still uncomfortable with command. So I don't necessarily know the protocol.
Okay. It was a big night last night, yes.
Was
big changes.
Indeed. No better than most.
Your position has changed for the better as well.
For the better, don't know. Perhaps I will be able to do more good leading men, but
you will be a good leader. Never did I think I would be where I am, a part of this, an equal in some respect. A long way from how I got here.
How did you come to find yourself in this army?
No, we were as parts of the trading party. We were making trade with community to the north, and we were set upon by you.
Mm-hmm.
It was awful. I was trapped in a very small well. They threw me down, and I was very bruised and hurt, but I couldn't get out, and I could hear the sounds of my companions as they screamed and pled for their lives, fought back. Somehow, someone saw fit to spare me. Oh, but these dark places, I cannot. Good to be in the open.
Yes, but full of danger. Sometimes I wish for those dark places. Sometimes I wish end the pain and the suffering that we see every day in this life. Keep a secret, Eshe.
Yes, sir.
Even from our general.
Yes, I will keep your secret.
And I say, do not expect that I will make it back from this invasion alive. In fact, I do not mean to, but if it is within my power, if the gods decide to grant me, I hope set up Lord Pactrosi and our great general with fame and glory that will be spoken of for generations, and perhaps they will speak my name on their lips as well. Leaving this life as a great hero, well, that would be something special, wouldn't it?
Yes, sir. That would indeed be special. But I hope you are wrong in your vision.
I say it's not so much a vision. I do not know what the future holds for me, but it is not one that I wish to see until our job is done. But have no fear. As long as you are in need, or the general is in need, I will be here for you.
Well, that is
nice, very nice, guys.
Thank you.
I need to give you guys the choice now. That was excellent interludes. Would you like a Benny as a reward or a adventure card as a reward?
I would like an adventure card, please.
Okay.
I think an adventure card sounds fun.
Okay, so can each of you just pick a number between 1 and 10?
Chris, you go first.
7.
All right, I'll
7. Okay.
I'll go right in the middle. I'll pick 5.
Okay. All right, so let's see what we got. So Ashe gets the card called Noble Sacrifice. It says play when an adjacent ally suffers damage, and you may suffer that damage instead. And
very fitting.
For Antaeus, you get a bullseye. Play after damage is rolled to double the total of a successful ranged attack.
Double the total of the successful ranged attack?
That's it.
All right.
All right. That's cool. And so that scene will end where Gregorio comes pulling up between you two as you kind of finish this conversation, and he says, "Look," and he points straight ahead, and up a trail you'll see a small village, sort of centered around a tree in a bit of a clearing in the middle of this light woods. And he says, "Should we lead the way in, or would you rather approach?"
And I would say, no, I will lead the way.
And you whip your reins a bit, and your horse kind of picks up a little faster than the others, and you sort of start to traverse the trail towards the village. And we're just going to cut away to the general here, who took an extra hour to kind of hit the road, and so he's only been marching now for about an hour. General Axios, you are kind of traversing this hillish, slightly rocky land, using the natural trails that are the minor valleys between these low hills. Your army is currently in its long distance marching formation, which would be roughly, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 4 across in a column. The column stretches on. These aren't huge armies at this point. I believe your entire army, I said, was 250 people. So it's roughly 75 rows deep, and you would be presumably at the end of it, watching your men snake through these hills. You will have, and maybe you can give me a name for him, you will have like an aide-de-camp next to you who also rides a horse. He could be anybody that you promoted to that position, because obviously Bronte's aide-de-camp would not be trusted.
Yeah, we'll say Silas.
Silas?
Yeah, Silas. There, Silas, Silas. And I'll say that he was probably like the most. He was like the youngest officer under my command that I thought had potential, like to be something great. If that makes sense.
Okay. And can you draw a card and show it face up on the screen?
Sure. 6 of hearts. It's at the bottom there, towards the bottom.
Can't see it for some reason, but that's okay. 6 of hearts. Okay, so 6 of hearts. Got it. Okay, so Silas kind of is riding next to you. His horse is a bit smaller than yours, so you kind of have to kind of glance down to see him. But he says, I cannot believe that you're the general, and this is unlike any summer. I've been riding for 4 seasons now, which he speaks as if it's like a lot, even though there are grizzled veterans here that have raided for 15 summers. And I've never heard of anything like this. It's amazing. I'm filled with excitement. What about you, General?
Silas, this is why I've told you must always be prepared for anything. Victory, defeat can come as swift as the night comes on a fall eve. It was only by chance that I was prepared and our men were prepared for the betrayal that befell us. And that was our only reason we are here today. We mustn't forget that lesson.
Yes. He's like, I'm excited, but if I can be honest with you, General, I feel a little guilty. I left my father and mother at home, and if what Kyrios Pactrosi says is true, they could be at risk for our actions. And he starts to grow a little somber and serious here.
And he'll, Axios will pause and kind of like nod his head, and he'll say,
now, before you say anything here, I want to let you know what you drew before was hearts. And so if you could here, if you can make a story fit your character, if you have a greatest love, either lost, found, or waiting for you back home, and you wanted to tell us about her here now, that would be a great interlude for your character.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so he's gonna look. He's gonna look. He's gonna look very, kind of somber and solemn for a moment, and bow his head, and he's gonna reveal something that he probably hasn't revealed or talked about much, and he'll say, "Silas, I know how you feel, but when I was your age, my young wife, Elanis, she was pregnant with our child, and I was called to lead a group of men on a raid that would last several months. It was my duty that I had swore to my king, and I had no choice but to leave. As I lay my last kiss on her forehead before leaving, I too had the same fears you do." And he'll, you see a tear come down kind of, and he'll say, "It was unfortunate, but when I came back from my victory, I had only found out that my wife had passed in child labor, and with it my only son. But it's a higher calling to serve one's nation. Although we have taken on the coat of arms to be soldiers, we cannot afford the luxuries of family. We fight for families. We are the ones that keep families safe. Don't let you forget this." And he'll kind of continue writing.
Yes, sir. Yes. And would you like a adventure card or a Benny as a reward for your interlude?
Adventure card sounds fun.
Okay. Pick a number between 1 and 10.
3.
3. Okay. Let's see. You get Lucky Break. You may play this card to completely negate the damage from one attack.
Nice.
Now, now that everyone has an adventure card, where these are different and the same as Benny's is this: you can keep them, you can stack them, you can hold on to, you could keep a deck growing, but you can only use one per session, no matter how many you save up. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that, unlike Benny's, while you can trade these cards, it must be a trade. It cannot be a giveaway. You cannot just give your card to somebody else. They have to give you one back in order for that to work. So otherwise, yeah, use them as you like.
Cool. So we get to keep them. So we don't have to use them this time. We can just put them in our notes or something. Okay.
Just make sure you put them in your notes if you're not going to use them this time. Put them in the character sheet because I don't want anyone to lose them. We won't be able to remember.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a nice adventure card too. Excellent. And so the army.
Sorry.
What's that?
Once you use it, is it gone or?
Yes. Yeah. Once you use it, it's used.
Okay. Cool.
And so you watch your cohort, your whole infantry, your hoplites, snake through these low hills, and after about another 3 more hours, you're about halfway between where you have started and the mountains looming ahead of you. Meanwhile, back at the village, Axios, you kind of come, not charging up, but your horse is moving a little faster than the rest as you kind of take the lead and start in towards the village. The very first thing you will see as you enter is a small boy, and he's standing there and he's kind of looking at you like, whoa, what is this?
Nice. And correct me if I'm wrong, was our mission officially to come and get a scout, or just to get as many men, provisions, and whatever as possible?
Well, when the fact that there was a village was brought up, Axios had said, well, you, I believe, had pressed Axios to want to go here to get as many men as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And then Axios had basically said, yes, and we know nothing of their forces, but if we cannot gain many men, perhaps some scouts. So basically, You're just going there to, first you have to size it up, because if the village is only like 40 people big, you're not going to get many people to leave because they're harvesting food and that's what their job is.
Yeah. Yeah, and he said no bloodshed, didn't he?
Yeah, so basically he's not saying, because no farmer would leave the harvest.
Sure, yeah.
Would leave the planting season unless you held the sword at their neck, if it was going to ruin their whole crop.
Right, yep. great. He checked my my murder hobo right in its tracks.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's fine. So I think that I would look down at this boy. I would kind of pull up and stop. And I think I would, I'd maybe like pull my helmet off and just kind of hold it for a moment. Shield would probably be on my back, and I would have been carrying my spear. And I would kind of look down to him, and I would say, "Well met, boy. What's your name?"
Hara. And then as he goes to say that, Gregorio and Hexos, and probably Ashe as well, come riding up behind you, and you hear Hexos go, "Haran, it's good to see you."
You said that was Axios that said
yes.
that?
Yeah, Hexios,
Okay.
one of the cavalrymen that was riding with you.
Okay.
So you can probably gather that they did tell you that like they met a boy a few days back, and he told them where the village. So the fact that he recognizes him means this is probably the boy and the village that he was talking about.
Sure. Yeah. And does the boy react at all to this? Like, how does that?
Yeah, he sort of his head kind of shakes like a double take, and then he looks. He goes, "Whoa, it's you! You found the village. You're better scouts than I thought you were." And Hexos kind of scours at him. "What's that supposed to mean?" And suddenly, before anyone can say anything else, the boy screams out, "Father! Father!" And you see this large man come from not too far away. He had been like ripping at some hide kind of into strips, and he kind of looks up and, Sonians. And he comes, he's like walking up to you, and he's staring at you, trying to see something about you. And about when he gets Antaeus, I think he can tell that you're kind of in charge of this little group. And as he comes up, he's looking a little bit aggressive, and then he seems to notice something, and he says, "You're Lord Pactrosi's men. Apologies." And he takes a knee, about probably 15 to 20 feet away from you.
Okay. And then I think I would dismount the horse, and I would slowly walk over to this man, and I would say, "It's good to see loyalty in these villages. Rise."
He stands, and he says, "We've always been loyal to Kyrios Pactrosi."
And I would say, "It is good. I will need to test that loyalty today." And I will hold out my arm in greeting, and I will say, "I am Antaeus of Donia."
He sort of he goes to take your arm, but he's slow to do it, and he's kind of looking around, and he as he takes your arm, he says, "Well met, my lord, but if crops for an army are what you seek, it is early. This is the planting season. We have no food to spare." And he's getting worried.
Yep. And I say, "I understand, and it is not food that I seek so much as any support, any aid that your village can supply." And I say, "Good sir, war is coming soon, if not, soon, hopefully not too soon. We need men, we need supplies, we need anybody who can join Lord Pactrosi's cause. Would you be able to help us?"
He sort of looks around, and he says, "My lord," and I think Axios and Gregorio are kind of dismounting. Ashe, what are you doing?
So I would dismount probably right after Antaeus did. And I think at this point I'm just quietly observing, ready to provide any backup you need.
Gotcha. And he kind of takes you all in, and he says, "For a long, Who do you seek to do war with?
And I say, not men of this land. I do not have all of the answers for you, but as a man who just recently risen to command, I know the lives of the people such as yourselves, and I fear that if you stay here and you live your lives as you normally do, they will be lives of depredation. War tends to bring the worst sort of luck to the land, and I do not know that the gods will smile upon you. But if you are active, you take up arms, you help us, it will help us in defeating our enemies, and perhaps you will remain safe and you will prosper.
He starts to shake his hands and his head. He says, "My lord, we cannot mobilize an entire village for war. We have some men here, 30 or so, 10 too old to fight and probably 10 too young. But there are still 36 women and the animals. Cannot take them all around the mountains. It will take weeks. And to where? And where would we settle when it's done?"
No, you misunderstand. I do not say you need to move your village. I'm saying that if you could supply our army with any able-bodied men that you may be able to spare, even if just for a season, any supplies, whether it is food, tools, carts, whatever, the gods will look favorably upon you, but more importantly, Lord Pactrosi will look favorably upon you.
He says, "I see. My lord, we could perhaps spare 4 or 5 men, but we only have perhaps 2 horses to spare. I would think they would slow you down considerably on foot. Would 2 men and our 2 horses be enough?"
It would indeed. I appreciate your generosity, and I would pull out and if I need to use a Benny or something for this, although I know that's not really technically how they work, but I would imagine as a commander maybe I have access to some coin, and so I would pull out or something of value,
Mm-hmm.
and I would pull out, maybe not a lot, but a little bit, and I would hand the man the coin, and I would say, if you are the leader of your village, or even if you're not, please help provide this to those families that will be burdened by this, by your generosity.
He says, "You're kind, my lord." And he looks down to Heron, and he says to him, "Fetch me Hector and Jiri." And Heron kind of nods and goes, "Yes, sir." And he goes back, "And tell them to bring the traveling horses." "Yes, father." And Heron goes and takes off, and he takes the coin from you. He says, "Yes, I will see this to their families' hands. They are young men, but these are the most well-traveled. They have been around, gone on trading quests for us before. They're likely to be the most likely to survive such a thing. I would like to see them home one day, though I suppose even if they survive, that would be up to them. But you will watch them for me, yes?"
Will do everything in my power to make sure that all of my men survive, but unfortunately it is up to the gods whether what their fate will be. But I will tell you that the man in charge of our army is quite capable. I cannot say you should have nothing to fear, but this is the best situation we could hope for.
I do hope you take care of them, and you don't have to trade in any Benny actually, because so he was already loyal to Lord Pactrosi. He was going to give you their minimum, like that they could. By actually offering him coin, you basically just kept a very healthy relationship with them. It basically balances out. He was going to give it to you for free, and he was going to hate it. But now that he doesn't have to give it to you for free, he's really not too beat up over this whole thing. And you could see it in his face. He's sort of, the coins really help smooth that over. How much do you think you gave him? Like maybe, so there's 2 men, maybe like 30 coin?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I would probably give enough that should they need to go out and buy, or to pay laborers, or to, you know, buy supplies or grain or whatever, that they should have enough coin to do that through the season, plus maybe a little bit extra.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe 30 or 30 coins. So just,
I think perhaps maybe this comes out of like my personal wealth or whatever. Because
I think it should, just for tracking, and we could play into that later. Maybe you get it back some other way. You have to talk to the general about it for something like that. But take it from yours for now, because that gives it value, and then we'll see how that gets paid down the road. What kind of general Axios is.
Awesome.
Okay. So what we're gonna do here is the next scene is gonna be Hector and Jiri are gonna kind of come riding up on these small ponies. Not ponies, smaller than your horses. They're not war horses. They're just standard horses. They have short bows. They have leather armor, rough, obviously taken from a father's father or something like that, and pretty rudimentary short swords. And they come riding up, and they look to the chief, Jason. They say, Jason, what is this about? We were told to arm up and grab horses. And he says back to them, he goes, you will be going with these men and woman. They serve Kyrios Pactrosi, and they need men. They have paid coin, and you see him, he takes the whole sum, the whole 30 coins that you gave him. He doesn't pocket any. And he shows it to them. He says, these 30 coins will go to your families to keep them safe while you're gone. If you return, all the better. But I believe the world is yours now. You should follow them and serve well. And they sort of, their eyes are wide, and they look over to you, Antaeus, and then they look at Hexos and Gregorio and the other 2 cavalrymen behind them. And then they fall on Ashe, and their eyes kind of get even wider. She's a foreigner holding foreign weapons. And they say, okay, yes, sir. We will do as we're told. And they sort of take the necessary 2 or 3 steps closer to you, Antaeus, indicating that they are your men. They are here in your party now. If you'd like to ask them any questions about what they're good at or anything like that, they're sort of here to answer your questions.
I would probably in just a moment, but I would look at the chief, and I assume his boy Heron is back. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, okay. He's like running. The other guys were on horses, so they were up ahead. But you see the little kid like kind of running over towards the action.
Nice. And like, how old is this kid? I mean, is he like, like 7, 8, or would he be like?
I think he's about 9.
He's 9. Okay. Does he look like he is like pretty healthy, like, or is he like sort of scrawny and sickly and whatever?
No, he was the one that was whipping around the hills the day before with Hexos and Gregorio when he got nervous about them and was keeping away hunting rabbits. I mean, he's a good, healthy survivalist.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to push my luck here. So I'm going to look to was it Tayson you said was the chief? Jason, okay. So I'll look to Jason and I'll say, you are a wise and generous man. And I imagine any kin of yours is also wise. Your young man here, he, from what my men tell me, he's fleet of foot. He's wise. He's young, but he could learn a lot from life in the military. We could use someone like him. Could you spare spare this young man as well.
And just for logistics, I want to let you know, you still have those 2 extra horses because you didn't take anybody with you.
Mm-hmm.
So you still technically have those. So the boy could ride one. I just wanted to put that out there so you know. And so Jason gets like, he's like, my boy, I intended for him to take over here. He is a wise lad, and we really needed him. What's your charisma?
Oh, man. I don't think it's good. Let me see. What is my charisma? My charisma is, where's my basic info? It's a 0.
Oh, okay, most people have 0. I just wanted to make sure you didn't have any 1-ups. Okay, so I'm gonna have you roll just a persuasion then. If you're not trying to intimidate this man. It doesn't seem everything you've done has been pretty reasonable with him. So I don't know if you want to offer him some sort of rationale as to why this wouldn't be the worst thing to let his kid go off, and then roll a persuasion.
All right, I absolutely do. And because I am unskilled in persuasion, my hope is that I can offset any kind of penalty here. So what I'll say is, let me tell you, I do not ask this lightly. Defending one's boy, no, it's too much to ask, but I will say this. You want him to one day succeed as the leader of this village. What better experience than to see the world, to see war, to see the true hearts of men, and maybe one day to lead those men. Experience such as that would make a great leader indeed. And furthermore, I can promise you that I would not put him on the front lines. He would be as protected as one could be on a battlefield. But perhaps he would gain not only valuable insight, but maybe some coin, some skills. And one day, when he returns, make you and your village proud. And then I assume persuasion is that based on smarts?
Yes.
I think it is.
Hold on. Spirit.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's fine. So just.
But if you don't have persuasion as a skill, it's just a D4 minus 2. But
yes.
You're offering a very valid argument, and you have him on good terms. So I'm going to waive the minus 2 and allow you to just roll the D4 and the D6 flat.
Okay.
Basically, I'm giving you a +2 for good rapport.
Okay. So let me see. I think I can do that in just the Roll20 dice roller, right? Oh, actually, can I do it in the... No, because I can't just roll a straight up dice in on my sheet, can I?
Let me see. Yeah, I think you can actually. Hold on. Skills. Yeah, so you can roll on skilled. It's
right.
Like right above your regular skills.
Okay.
So you could do that, or if you have something at D4, you could just roll that instead.
Sure.
Because I am giving you the +2, so it would just make it basically a regular D4 skilled roll.
I'll roll it unskilled, and then we'll just take into consideration, I guess, the +2, because I don't think the sheet will let me add it. Excuse me.
That's fine. Yeah, that works. No, you can't use it to the unskilled. Yeah, so it would be okay. So you rolled a D4. You rolled a 1, and a wild die. You rolled. Why's your wild die a 10? Oh, it's because you have that.
Oh, but you know what? It shouldn't be, should it? Because I'm outside of the 30 feet. So let me.
Oh, right. That was because of 10.
Let me redo that here to a D6.
Oh, are you encumbered? It says you have too much stuff. I don't know why that shouldn't have affected any.
I think, I think it always shows the encumbrance penalty, but I don't think it accounted for it.
Yeah,
do you want me to re-roll?
Yeah, you might as well re-roll using the D6.
Okay.
Because you're more likely to get an exploding on a D6, which is exactly what happened.
Which is what I did. All right.
Which is exactly what happened, yeah. So, wow, even with the negative, wow. Holy cow. So he sort of nods his head and looks at his boy and he says, he's strong enough to make it too. I believe he could survive. And so he looks at the boy and says, aye, it's up to you then. What'll it be? And Haran says, which one's my horse? As your answer.
Awesome. And I would definitely let out a laugh at that. Yes, I think this lad will go far. And I would say, your pick.
And so he is actually, he's going to run up to this really nice looking, like piebald, multicolored horse. And he very, very gracefully just kind of gets into it. Like he is used to animals and survival kind of skills. And he's good. He's good. He jumps right onto the horse. He gets on and he kind of rubs the horse's neck. And he's like, wow, unbelievable. Wow, war. And the father just kind of comes up closer to you, though, and goes to take your hand again. And he goes, I hope that's the last you have to ask of me. And he sort of like goes to take your hand. Do you take it?
I do.
And he sort of leans in, it's like one of those forearm shakes.
Yep.
He sort of pulls you in a little bit and he goes, if anything happens to him, you'll have to kill me when I come after you. He's basically saying he can't take you, but he's going to have to come after you out of honor.
Yep.
Take that as you will.
Oh, absolutely. And I would look at him and I say, Jason, I'll do everything in my power to keep your boy safe. We are at war. Any guarantees? But one thing I can guarantee, that you are a great leader of your people. Expect that if anything happens, you will not have to come and find me. We'll make sure that I find you if I can. And then before he says anything or does, I'll put my helmet on. I'll kind of thump my spear on the ground, and I'll give him like a salute.
Okay. Yeah, and he kind of gives you one back, and he had this like bag. He has this like bag that like is a one shoulder bag. It's like a farmer's bag, and he sort of goes into it, and he reaches in and says, "Here, take some of these for the road." He kind of grabs up a nice wad of olives, nice fresh plump olives with purple skins. And I imagine one of the cavalry men kind of goes, "Oh no, olives!" And he kind of comes running up with like his bag, and he sort of like puts like the double handful like in his bag and says, "The boy likes them. He'll enjoy them on the road." And he breathes heavily and kind of takes like 3 steps back. I imagine most of you guys, at least the cavalrymen, then at that point start to resaddle up.
Yeah, and I think as we're preparing to leave, I would look to Jason and I would say, your generosity and your loyalty will make it back to the ears of Lord Pactrosi. You have my word.
And now he gives you kind of the salute back at that.
Awesome.
And he's kind of waving as you guys, kind of back through the forest towards the more open hills. Yes. And that will bring us back to the hills, actually. This is the last scene before we're going to take a short break. And we're back with Silas and Axios. It's been some time now. It's nearing dusk, and you have reached the foothills of the mountains. I just want to kind of give you, especially you, since you kind of actually have military experience, kind of full range here. What would you tell your troops to do? Again, it's getting dusk. You could push on or you could stay. If you stay, do you put anybody on guard? Where do you put them on guard? And all those sort of things. Anything that you can think of that you would do with your troops here.
Okay. So we're coming to rest. We're going to rest for the night because the last thing a commander or a general needs is exhausted troops for no other reason than to just push. So he is going to immediately have them set up camp. He's going to have them do the full gamut of so this is, as a logistician in my military experience, big thing is like hygiene. So like setting up where they're going to use the restroom away from the food, because back in the days, like that caused a lot of sanitary issues that actually destroyed armies, believe it or not. So he's gonna, set that up. He is going to post roving patrols around the base. He'll allow his commanders to delegate that down to their squads and whatnot, and serve the best thing of all for morale and readiness. Serve hot chow. So he's going to have hot chow served for the troops that night as they prepare to move out the next day.
Excellent. This sounds like a really well-built camp. In terms of fire pits or anything like that, you're letting them, like, they're doing their standard, right? All the fires in the camps can get lit, food can get cooked, all that stuff.
So what I would do, and I'll do it in character, is I assume there's someone like a scout master who, like in the military, we call them the S2. They're in charge of intelligence. So I would ask him, like, what is the assessment of, like, enemy activity in the area to make up my decision.
Okay.
If it's likely there's enemy, then we're going to obviously modify our campsite to that. So I would ask, Scoutmaster, what does the intelligence say?
So yeah, this man kind of comes running up to you, kind of in his bronze armor, and he says, "Oi, so we don't raid in this area often. We don't know much. What I can tell you from the maps that we've seen is this mountain range has a fairly large valley in the middle of it. It's likely that if the Pelios men do keep guard, they do so on the southern peak. In other words, there's a mountain between you and anyone that would usually be anywhere.
Yep.
So he goes, so I think anything we do on this side of the mountain, we should be fairly safe. Things might have to change on the other side, though. Time will tell on that one."
And I would nod. I think I would still be. I'm going to play to my hindrance here, which is still overly cautious. So I'll say understood, but we will still we will reduce our exposure at night. So make sure the fire pits are only necessary for cooking and food. After that, they will be put out.
Yes, sir. I'll pass the word.
Thank you.
And he goes and runs off towards the scullery tent.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I think the last thing we see here is just you're kind of surveying your camp. You are probably, like I said, there's a lot of low hills here at the foothills of the mountains. So you're kind of like on this low hill, kind of looking out as the camp kind of spreads out in front of you as the troops kind of begin to set up tent after tent after tent, and the low fires get building over here, and you can see the kind of glow as it gets. If the glow doesn't get brighter, but the sky gets darker, so it becomes brighter to your eyes. And that's how the first day as general ends. Your first day marching, at least. That's how it ends. And so we're going to take like 5 minutes here. If anybody wants to go to the restroom, get something to drink, we'll come back on at by my clock, it would be 9:32.
All right, we are back. So let us see if we will successfully invade or at least get through the mountains. Let's do it.
And so when we return, the dusk has fully settled in, and Axios, you're standing there, and you suddenly hear the clatter of horses behind you as you kind of survey your camp, coming back the way you had left.
Okay, I would turn to see what if I would see if they're friendlies or not.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to see.
Men, ready your spears. Who approaches? I would kind of.
You hear. I will say, Ashe, you were kind of in front here, just because you guys are riding in no particular order here out over the hills, and you hear Axios call out first.
It is Eshe, Anteros, and companions. We have returned.
They have returned. Let them in. Let them cross. Excellent. And I'd be like clapping, seeing that there's obviously more horses returning than had left. And when Antaeus gets close, I'd say, Commander Antaeus, tell me the news.
And I would get up close, get off my horse, take off my helmet, kind of hold it under my arm, right? Maybe under the one with the spear, and then I would reach out, kind of the clasped arms with the general, and I would say, "Well, General, I brought you some men. Oh, and some olives." And I would kind of hand him one.
Oh, I'd eat it. Excellent. There'll be more fruits of our victory across that mountain there, and I'd point to the mountain.
That is my hope indeed, General.
Did you give any direction to the cavalry or these new people with you, or would they have ridden right up behind you?
Me? Would I have given them?
Yeah, so like you were kind of in charge of them, and you rode right up to Axios. I was just wondering, did you say anything to them, like stay here or ride ahead or whatever, or should they just like continue to follow you?
I'll tell you what, I think maybe, so let me ask you this first. Would Eshe have gone right up to Axios as well, or would she have kind of just, said, hey, whatever, it's us, but then sort of backed off?
I think she would have hung back respectfully and like waited for instructions.
Okay.
Kind of observed you guys greeting each other.
Sure.
Maybe gave the general a nod, but like.
So I think.
Okay, so actually, then, if sorry. Oh, I was going to say that by default, then these people will stay with Eshe. They would ride and stop. Seeing her stop, they would stop with her unless given other instructions.
Right. Yeah. I was going to say I would move on, assuming that she would stop them if they didn't know otherwise. But yes, I would. So I would say to Axios, there wasn't much in the village, and without forcible conscription, I brought 2 able-bodied men and this young one here, and I say, "Oi, Haran, come forward, meet the general."
And so he sort of kicks his horse a little bit and comes riding up, and far less ceremoniously, sort of kind of gets up, and then as he gets close, he kind of swings himself down from the horse, and he just kind of comes loping up. But he doesn't go up to the general. He kind of comes up to you and kind of looks at you, and then kind of like looks at the general and just kind of like cranes his head back.
I would say, General Axios, this is Haran, the son of the leader of the village. I wanted you to meet him.
Excellent. And I would offer my hand to the young boy, and I would be looking at Antaeus, and I would say, "It appears you have found your Silas."
And I would say, well, it certainly appears that I have found a burden, but one that may prove useful to both me and to your army. This boy is fleet of foot, wise, smart, and looking for experiences that he can translate into leadership later. I think we will grow him from a boy into a man.
Harad, you are lucky to have a mentor such as Antaeus. Listen to what he says, and you will live a long, fruitful life.
Yes, sir. I will.
Good.
Any sort of.
And then I would kind of lean down and be like, very well, Harad, you are dismissed. Go back to Eshe.
And then
He grabs his reins, jogs it down.
Excellent. And then I guess the last thing I would say is, General, there was not much in the village, but I feel if we find any others, or we find any other men, sir, we may need to do everything in our power to grow the size of our army. We just don't know what's on the other side.
Antaeus, it is a little known thing, but forcible conscription is a short-term gain. Once others hear that our army is made of free men and women, they will join of their own willingness. Then our army shall know no bounds.
And I hesitate for a minute, not deciding if I actually want to say this or not, and I say, I finally do, and I say, yes, General, assuming.
That is what I have you for, Commander. I have full faith in you. And I would look over at Eshe and our champions among us. We must be off. There's land to conquer.
And I would say, very good, sir. Very good. And then I would kind of turn around and, kind of point to the men and be like, follow me, let's move out. And then maybe as we're kind of getting back, I would say to Eshe, Eshe, can you look after the boy? Stay close.
Yes, sir.
I'll call for him when I need him, but maybe teach him how to fight best you can.
Yes. We will begin immediately. Tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you.
And yeah, Axios would jump on his white steed and he would shout out, form up! Assemble your men, commanders! We march to war. And then...
Oh, I'm sorry. This was actually that night still. They arrived back at the night.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
Prepare for tomorrow. We go to war.
Get a good night rest, men. For tomorrow we march to war. Yes.
He got ahead of himself. Well, we're ready to go.
Yeah, let's go.
Like, what? We didn't even eat chow yet.
General, maybe we shouldn't march in the darkness. Good plan. Yeah.
That's what I said in the morning.
So the next morning, the sun comes up. Commander Antaeus is up very early because of his assistant, who wakes him up before the crack of dawn.
Yep.
And you see a fairly a nice day. The weather is not challenging today. The sun is out. Everything is fairly in line for a march. And so I rolled a couple things ahead of time. And so the first day, you make very poor progress. There is no serious harm to your army. It's just a very slow trudging march up the side of this first mountain. It's just particularly difficult. And the men are going in single file and branching off into a couple of different paths to try to get through these more difficult areas. And then they have to reassemble when they reach better areas. And so it just kind of drags on. Whereas the second day, they're actually able to reach the peak and sort of progress down along the far side of it. I'm assuming your camp basically follows similar rules each time for the most part. And on the third day, you have again another an average marching day. You're able to make it to the base again of this first mountain, finding yourself in the valley, what's called the Central Valley of Chelios. And so this night, the Haran is going to come up to you, Eshe, and he's going to say to you, he says, what should he call you? You're training him now, so I don't know what they might call somebody who studies under somebody where you're from, but do they have a term for it that you might have taught him?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, would he not just refer to her by her new rank?
He could very well do that, but you are teaching him specifically to fight. So
Right.
I just didn't know if maybe he might call you master or like Sifu, I don't know, just anything along
Right.
those lines, or if he feels like he's part of the army and he just calls you Hoplite.
Right. Yeah, I feel like maybe he calls her teacher, but I don't know what word. To trying to remember what language I looked up last time. I want to say like sensei, but that's too Asian for her.
I mean, I think you could probably just use teacher, at least for now.
Yeah.
Teacher. Yeah, let's use teacher. So he comes up to you and he says, teacher, I was surprised to see us going for the mountains. I understand why, but is the general aware of that the city of Pelios is simply right on the other side of these mountains?
Yes.
Is he taking proper precaution?
We gave it much thought and felt that this was the best way to approach. We know it's a risk. What would you have done, my student?
Well, no, the mountains. It's smart. It's smart. We sometimes travel the mountains when we wish to visit Pelios if we have a small party. But sometimes their men are in the mountains and watching. We've been stopped before.
Are you skilled at finding these men?
He says, teacher, I can spot a rabbit from 2 miles away. I could certainly spot a Pelisman from a mile.
I think we should let Axios know that this is a particular gift of yours. Yes.
He's eager to be useful. He's like, yeah, I'm very skilled at it. I'm the most skilled. He just he's bragging big time.
I cast my eyes around looking for the commander to see if he's in proximity.
Would he be nearby? I would imagine that I would be fairly close to the general. And if the general was permitting it, I would be grumbling about how bad of an idea this was to go through the mountains.
Yeah, he would. He's a very open command. Like he listens a lot to others.
Right. And I think maybe what I would be saying is that our scouts are not used to this type of thing, and that we could be caught unawares. And perhaps that's when Eshe shows up.
Yeah. So, Aaron, I bring him with me, and I stand respectfully off a distance, but a few feet, and catch your eye, and gesture that I have something to speak to you about.
Yeah, and I would just simply nod, and say, "Come on over."
Commander, the young man here, you've chosen well. He has familiarity with these mountains, and he has some insight, I believe, for us. He may make a very good scout. Karen, tell the commander what you just told me.
Well, I was just saying that when we pass through here, sometimes the Peliosmen keep guard. Sometimes there's even signal fires up on top of the mountain. I do not know if there's any in here now, but usually once we pass the valley, we try to keep an eye and make sure that they know who we are. But there's no mistaking who we are this time.
You are right. Well done, Haran. Thank you for this information. Listen, do you think you could act as a scout, as an advanced eyes for this army, to find these Peliosmen and make sure that you warn us before we come upon them?
I can try, but once it reaches nightfall, if they see us, they'll just immediately light the fires. I believe the best choice might be to scout up to the top and then find where they are and attack them before they see us, if they're even there.
I think that is a wise idea. And then I would look to the general to see what he says.
This is wise. We remove their scouts, their eyes and ears are lost. They shall be blind in fighting us. I concur with this idea. We must eliminate the scouts before they can signal the fires that we are coming.
Yep. And then I would look back to him and I would say, and Haran, in your estimation, how many Peliosmen usually make up a party in these mountains, approximately?
When we've been stopped before, it's usually been by a couple of scouts, but when we pass through the peak, we've seen groups of maybe 6 to 10 hoplites standing guard around the signal fire. I don't know where all the signal fires are. However, and he starts to kind of think, he's kind of looking around. He says, I believe we usually pass through those 2 peaks, and it's usually to the left. And he's kind of tracing it with his eye. It kind of points to a peak that's like sort of in front of you, but to the right, like you were probably going to be passing around that way at some point. He says, I believe it's that peak that I've seen them on in the past. They could be on others, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure I've seen them there.
Okay. And although I know we played them a bit goofy, Axios and Gregorios are pretty skilled, right? In terms of, stealth.
They are. I never ended up giving them edges, but they're well statted. They're experienced veteran troops.
Okay. So then I think what I would do is I would look to Eshe and I would say, Eshe, take the boy, get Axios, Gregorios, and maybe half a dozen other men, the best at stealth and at ranged attacks, and if you would lead this party and take these Peliosmen out. Will you do that?
Sir. Right away. Let us go, Haran.
Okay, yes, teacher.
And before you go, I would kind of hand you this scroll or whatever, Eshe. Basically, it's just word, from the commander saying, give Eshe whatever she needs, or not Eshe, but give the bearer of this anything she needs, that whole thing. Okay. If anyone gives you shit, you just hand them that.
Thank you, sir. And as we walk away, I quietly speak to Heron. Well done, young man. Very well done. You will do well.
Thank you. And he gets real serious, and he goes and he finds his horse. Well, he knows where it is, and you guys are walking towards it. So he gets to his horse and he gets on it. You've been walking the horses mostly around here because you're in the valley now, so you can ride a little bit, but you do have to kind of dismount and so on. So he gets on his horse now, and he just basically is sticking by you.
Great. I guess she'll grab hers too then, and they'll go find Gregorios and the other guy.
And how many people are you going to take with you all together? Gregorio, Hexos, anybody else?
I'd say about half
maybe
a dozen more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So total of 10 people.
Mhm.
These two, 6 NPCs, and you two.
Wow.
Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
So that's
every-
10 of us.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. You heard there was about 10 up there, so no army would send less. So that sounds about right. I'm going to tell you, you are going to control all the standard warriors. I'm going to continue to control Haran.
Okay. Gregorio and Hexos and anybody else. Okay.
So we're controlling who?
Perfect.
You guys can help.
Well, they're going to have things going on with the main host. So you guys can control these extra players if you like. Or you could say, you could do actually anything you want. It's not like you can't do both. I just don't want anyone to feel overwhelmed. And Chris, if you want me to take the NPC characters, that's fine too.
I mean, I'm certainly fine. Like if we're kind of splitting the scene, from the main army to her, if Anthony and I want to reprise our roles as Hexos and Gregorios.
Oh yeah,
I'm good with
why
that.
don't you guys control Hexos and Gregorios? That would be fun, actually. That'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Cool.
You were. I was Hexos, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's perfect.
That sounds right.
Hey, Greg. How got a good feeling about this one?
Like, I don't know, Hexos. It seems like we got a kid leading us, and
crazy times.
See, just keep your eyes sharp, your ears out. If we hear anybody, we gotta be quick, but we gotta be quiet about it.
Yeah, last time we were out on a mission, and our boss tried to kill somebody. Thank God the general let us live.
Yeah, that's true. And I think it was that kid actually that was the cause of all that trouble. Well,
yeah,
earlier on anyway.
And all this grumbling is going on. And Eshe, you're hearing this. You're in control of this little group. So you're hearing them grumbling. You have your 6 other people with you. The boy is ready to go. How do you organize this search party?
So for starters, I turn around and I give them all a stern look. Heron here is an heir to a village, and he is a very sharp young man. I expect you to give him the respect that Commander Axios awarded him with by sending him on this mission. I will have no more grumbling.
yes.
And then I turn to Heron and I say, you lead the way. You know these mountains.
And he's like nods back, like taking himself really seriously. He's like, yes. And so he's going to basically lead you slowly on horses through this sort of mountain valley away from the main host. The main host continues on. You guys move a little bit faster. And where you basically are maneuvering yourselves to is between these 2 main mountains. And that's when you see Haran kind of get off of his horse, and he kind of indicates that everyone else should too. And he starts to kind of make his way kind of up the mountain.
So I pull my horse up and signal the rest of the group as well as I get down and follow his lead.
And so, yes, this boy is going to be kind of slinking in and out of the trees. It takes the better part of the day. You're moving quite slow. It's not a very high peak, but it's a slow enough progress to take most of the day. And let me just make this roll real quick. Okay. So just as the sky is starting to get to that dusk, Haran comes creeping back to you. You almost, actually, let me see how stealthy he's being. Yeah, you almost don't notice him until he's right back at your feet, Eshe. And he says, Eshe, teacher.
Yes, Sarah.
I didn't see them at first. I'm sorry. But there are men. I can't tell how many. Just up ahead. Probably just through those trees. And he points to this kind of copse of trees. You don't hear anything at first.
Okay. Do you have an idea how they are arranged, Eron?
I can't see them. I got up to the bush and I suddenly heard one way closer than I expected. And so I slipped away.
Good work. And I gesture to the men, particularly Axios and Gregorio, and I indicate with the signals, and we're going to, split up. He heard at least one there, and let's take them quietly and quickly. Axios, you take these 3 men. The rest of us will go with Heron.
Yes.
And I think I would look on in apprehension as Hexos is leading some men, but I would say, look and remember, quiet feet, quiet mouth.
You get it, Greg.
Well, and I imagine that would be annoying because he's probably a pretty good, pretty good scout and whatever, but it's I feel like Gregorio is maybe a little older. And so it's that, that grumpy old sort of, the scout who's always been a scout and he can't help himself kind of thing,
I turn to Gregorio. Does he need the babysitter?
Yes, he does.
Maybe you should join him.
I think for a minute, and you could see, on my face, it would be oh, that backfired. But I'm that's what you wish. And then I would kind of go on and be like, Exos, wait up. You're not rid of me yet.
Yeah. So I'll grab back one of the extra guys.
Okay, so it's Hexos, Gregorio, and 2 guys.
So 5 and
you,
5.
Haran. Oh, okay, 5 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
You, Haran, and 3. Gregorio and Hexos and 3.
That gives us room to split again if we need to.
Right. Okay. So yeah, you have this copse of trees in front of you. You don't know exactly where they are yet. What do you do?
So what kind of, is it completely dark now, or you said dusk, right?
It's kind of worse than being completely dark. Your eyes are even worse when the sun is just about to go down. So you see shadows. It's probably not as deep woods as it appears at this time, just because of all the shadows being laid by all the trees kind of overlapping each other and the brush and everything like that. It's just really hard to tell. It's the time of day where if you were a nervous person, you would easily see people anywhere. You know what I mean? Like you could think you saw somebody at any time.
So I gesture up a tree to Heron. Tree, you may get a good vantage point.
Oh, that's a good idea. Okay, so Haran is going to kind of, well, first let's see how quietly he can do this.
And she'll give him
Very
a
well.
boost even if he needs it.
Save it for the next one, because he rolled a 7 for stealth, so he's able to very quietly kind of climb up that tree. Very nice. Okay, so he's going to look down to you, and he's going to go like this. And he's going to point, like there's a huge brush right at the bottom of the tree that he's climbed up. He's saying that there's 3 basically right on the other side of the bush, right below him. Okay. And then he rolled very well. So he kind of scans over to the right, and then he goes like this. And he kind of points over in the direction where Gregorio and Hexos are, towards the other side of that brush. So he's saying there's basically 5 people right on the other side of all this brush that's in front of you.
Okay. And I gesture back to him that I got it. And I gesture to 2 of the guys with us to go around one side of this group of 3. And then
so like to the left side, like so Hexos and Gregorio are here, you and the boy are here. So you're sending your 3 guys this way, basically around the brush to the left. Okay.
And then we'll pinch them in the middle.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, let's do this. Those 3 are not going to. Well, they're not going to attack unless you tell them to, or unless you control them, and they just do because they're jumping the gun. But I think everybody will be looking to USA at first to either give the battle cry or to make an attack or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. So I will tell them that I'll give them a signal. Then it'll be a whistle,
Okay.
Bird call. So
okay.
Once we're in position, then I'll give that signal. What I didn't do, give myself a So I guess I ready my sling prior to getting in position, and then I don't know, who do you want me to have go first, or?
Oh, it's totally up to you. If you're going to jump out and attack first, then that's one thing. If you're going to give a command and expect them to go in and attack, then it would be them that are technically attacking first. I'm going to basically, once you give the attack, I'm going to have the generic soldiers that you're controlling roll notice, because you're bursting through a brush. You're not going to know exactly where they are. And we're going to kind of see if they notice them quickly or not.
Sweet. Okay. So I guess actually we'd have some sort of signal that they gave me that they're in position, and then I give them a double signal back to go ahead with the attack.
Got it.
So, yeah.
Okay. If you'd like, I can roll for the generic soldiers if you'd like.
That sounds great.
No problem. So I'm going to roll them all at once.
Draw their knives and
Yeah, I think they did that. They were when you sent them to the left, they creeped over there. You could kind of hear the as their short swords kind of come out. And I'm going to roll them all at once. Oh, wow. No, that's a 2. Okay. So they burst through the brush, and they look and they scan, and it takes a moment for their eyes to kind of focus and see where the others are. And at this point, I need everybody to draw for initiative.
Okay.
I got a 2 of
spades.
Okay, that's a 2. Who was that?
I
Who's
got
the
ace. Sam.
Hexos.
Or Gregorio,
Okay.
I guess, has an ace.
Yeah. Hexos.
Oh, right, Gregorio.
Hexos.
Why can't I move this?
Ooh, I got a joker.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Awesome. Okay. So, and all right, this is for the generic soldiers. They got a jack.
Joker.
Okay. Okay. And an ace of clubs for Antaeus. Okay. Perfect. And last one. Okay. So we have our lineup here. Eshe can go whenever she wants. She can interrupt anybody. She can do, oh, sorry, there's one more party I have to draw. That's the enemies.
Oh, I was hoping you were gonna just not.
See, they don't get a turn, do they?
No.
Well, because your guys burst through and couldn't focus on them, they didn't get a surprise attack. So now it's like, now it's just a fight. Like your guys are in there and it's an even fight, but your guys drew better, so they'll get to attack first anyway. But the first person to technically attack is Gregorio. So Gregorio, you hear them move forward, and you have the opportunity to go now.
Oh, okay. Is Eshe sort of delaying or?
Well,
yeah. Okay.
Well, Eshe got a joker, so Eshe can go whenever she wants. If she wants to interrupt you now and go first, she can. But technically, you go first, and I move along this pattern until she just goes, nope, let me go.
Okay. So then, yeah, I think if I notice these soldiers kind of come bursting in here, and we see the situation, I'd look over to Hexos and I'd be like, kind of under my breath, I'd be like, well, it's time to do what we do best. And then I would run in, and I would definitely try to attack the closest one that I can, because we're not really attempting to be stealthy at this point, right? We're just the fight is on.
I don't think so.
Right.
No, the fight seems to be on. I would think as they burst through, the people that were surprised kind of stood up and started moving around. So now, even though they're on the other side of the bush, you can see at least these two that are directly in front of you and Hexos.
Okay, great. So I'll make a fighting roll then. Let's see. Does a 6 make it?
Oh, shoot, that's right. Let me bring up my darn stats for these guys. That would help. These are hoplites. So they have... that's the wrong screen. That's the wrong screen. Jeez. There it is. I had stats on one page and then more stats on another page. I switched back and forth. All right, these are the hoplites. Here they are. Okay, so here's the deal. These guys, you burst through. This does hit. I will tell you, meta-wise, it's because they did not grab their shields yet. If they had shields, their parry would be higher. But surprising them as you did, their shields on the ground. They stood up only holding their spears. And yes, the 6, what are you wielding right now?
A spear.
A spear? Okay, yeah. So they're not able to get their spear around in time, and you nail one of them with your polearm.
Whoa.
Ooh, damage. Whew.
10 damage.
Holy
all right.
Jesus. 10 damage. So that's definitely a raise. So this guy is dropped because that's a wound, and he's an NPC.
Come in,
so
just kind of leaping in, right into the neck. He drops, and then I, holding my spear up, ready.
Very nice. And that will, in the order of things, bring up your generic soldiers, all of them. So we have 6 altogether.
Okay.
I will roll for all of them if you guys like. It's probably easier. I have them up on my thing anyway. So okay, so let's do the 3 with you, Gregorio, first, because they're right next to you charging in. Okay, so the first one charges through but misses. He just kind of thrust forward. Oh, is that 2 with the same result? It is. And the second one, so they come charging through, but they're kind of caught up in the brush, and they're not really able to land any of them. Oh, man. All 3 of them miss. They all rolled the same thing. They all have encumbrance. It's the mountain, and they're wearing a lot of gear. But they would have missed anyway, to be honest. And then the other 3 on the other side. Okay. So one of them hits. Oof, that one misses. And that one misses. Okay, so one hits. These are foot soldiers. You get what you pay for.
They were supposed to be good men.
Yeah, I thought so too. Let's roll this and see what we get. Okay, so one of the 3 in front of you, Eshe, is shaken.
Okay.
From the man that's from one of the generic soldiers that are with you. And that would bring up, of course, Eshe, keep in mind you can go whenever you like.
Okay.
But that brings up Haran, who is not going to take an attack. Oh, okay.
I turn to Haran and I say, first of all, do you know how to use one of these? And I show him my slingshot because he mentioned rabbits.
He's already got one in his hand, actually.
Sweet. So, and I switch to
you.
my javelin, and I say, you stay behind me. We must keep you safe. We promised your father. And I will attack the stunned guy.
Okay, so you're jumping in front of him. Awesome timing. Awesome.
So, okay, so now remind me how to do this.
Now you just go to fighting under skill.
Well, are you using your javelin as a thrown weapon?
I'm going to use it like a spear.
Okay.
Two-handed.
Yeah, then you use fighting. So if you did throw it, you would roll for shooting, but since you're fighting with it, you roll for fighting. So you find the fighting skill, and then you look over to the right, and there should be the image of a dice, just like when we play Genesis, and you just click that.
Oh, right here. Fighting.
And Rory, does my action card or adventure card, does that double the damage or the attack result?
It was the damage. It was on a successful attack.
Sure.
Oh my god.
So I would use a Benny on that.
Yeah, I would spend a Benny on that for sure. Oh, you just roll again. Everyone has 3 Bennies to start.
Keep track.
So you just track how many you use.
That's better.
It's a lot better.
And then I go to the weapon itself for the damage?
Right. So then you go to equipment.
Okay.
And you should have your javelin or spear, whatever it's listed as. And now you're going to hit raise because you raised on the attack. So there's a little checkbox. So we'll say the weapon, damage, raise, weight, so on. Click the little checkbox, raise. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. This guy was already shaken, so you can tell us how you annihilate him.
I actually stab him in the back. So I come up two-handed and just jam the javelin down between his shoulder blades and sever his spine.
Nice.
Yeah, he does.
Okay. And now, that's right. I never entered the hoplites. Okay, I have to roll them. Sorry. You'll have to trust me. Okay, so the hoplite. Okay, so now they are down 2 people. Yes, and there were 5 there. So they have 3 people still there on that side of the bush. Okay, they're fighting. So the first one is attacking Eshe and completely whiffs. Rolls a 2. So I'm sure that does not hit. The second one is going to attack one of the generic soldiers next to you, Eshe. Oh my God, crit fails. Okay, so that's a miss. So that's the left side. There's still one guy left on the right side, and he is going to attack one of the generic soldiers next to you, Gregorio, and rolls a 6. So that is going to be a successful hit, I believe. I'm almost positive. It is. Their AC is 5. Okay, so that's a hit, and that's going to do a total of 6.
And just remind me, you have to either meet or exceed their parry, right? It's not just exceed?
Correct.
Okay.
Right. Yep. Meet or exceed.
Yep. So tie goes to the
and as you exceed, you could raise. If it's 4 above, then it's a raise.
Right.
Yep. So this is going to be plus the strength. Wow. Okay. So wow. Strength is another D8. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. One of these generic soldiers next to you, Gregorio and Hexos, has a, like, let's say one of them has actually moved kind of past you, Gregorio, kind of like running in, and you kill the guy in front of you, and then as you kind of glance up, you see this guy pass you, and suddenly you see out of the back of his neck the tip of a spear just protrude right out the back of the neck.
Yeah, dice rolling off screen. No, just kidding. They're cursed, I tell you. Cursed for us.
Well, to be fair, most of them miss terribly.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, and so I think, as I would go, as that happens, I would be like, whoa, and see my, one of the men go down. Definitely more.
I just realized there's a basic dice roller. I'll use that from now on. I forgot that was there.
Yeah, I mean, it won't automatically explode or anything, so you'll have to.
Yeah.
Yep.
Keep an eye on it.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the end of the generic soldiers, and then that brings up last with the 2 of clubs, I believe, Axios.
Yep. All right. So Hexos is going to run up, following Gregorio with his spear in hand, and he is going to attack the nearest enemy. So
there is the one who killed your companion.
Yep.
The generic soldier. Okay.
And he's gonna
so that is a hit on that one.
So imagine that guy's just stabbing my friend, killing him, and I'm stabbing him in behind, and then
that's a raise. Okay.
Oh yeah. So I wonder, Anthony, did you add a raise to that one by clicking the box on your damage?
I don't think he did.
I did not.
But that's okay. Just roll another d6.
Just a regular d6.
Yes.
A 1.
Okay, so it's only a 5 total. So that's still just so you don't wound him, you shake him.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say you went to stab at his head.
Yeah.
But you slightly missed. So in order to get something out of it, you kind of jerked it to the left and kind of dinged up against his helmet, and it kind of rung his ears a little bit, and he shook him.
Gotcha.
And so he's the only enemy left on sort of on our side, so to speak.
Correct.
Okay.
There are still 2 on the other side.
Okay. Cool. Does that put me next in the order then? Are we back up to the top?
Now you oh wait, why didn't it recall this card? Sorry.
Right, we got to roll, or we got to draw again.
Yeah, but I'm trying to recall. Why is it? It's still showing the 2 of spades out there. I don't understand, but it says that there's 54 unplayed cards. I don't know why that 2 is still there. I actually can't move it or anything like that. I think it might be.
Could be a glitch because I can't see it. But it could just be a glitch if it's.
Oh, okay. As long as you guys aren't seeing it. Yeah, because when I hover over the deck, it says 54 available cards. So just rules for anybody watching. In Savage Worlds, Jokers are awesome. They are wild cards. But once you get one, you're supposed to reshuffle the deck at that point, which is what I just did. Who drew that 2 of hearts?
I did.
Okay, that's Antaeus. Okay. Next person draw.
That's me.
Okay. 10 of spades. Very nice.
I had the 10 of. Oh, was that you, Eshe? You do that?
Yeah, I think you had the 10 of clubs.
Yeah, I had a 10, I think.
Yeah, I think you had the 10 of clubs. They were both black,
Okay.
but it was hers.
Yeah, I
was spades.
definitely
Okay.
have spades. So.
Yep, 10 of clubs.
Yep. Okay.
That was so fascinating.
And I'm gonna. All right. So this is Haran, and then I'm gonna do generic soldiers on your side first. Oh, they get a Joker. Unbelievable. And I'm gonna do the enemies.
Ugh,
They get a Jack.
this is not going to go well.
And
You got this.
Haran has a Jack. Your troops have a Joker.
Rory, real quick,
I'll let you guys.
is it possible to use excuse me, to use a Benny to draw another card or to redraw a card in
Yes, actually, I believe
initiative?
you can redraw anything. You can re-roll or redraw anything using a Benny.
Okay, I'd like to try
Oh, that's
that if
cool.
I can.
Sure.
I mean, I won't beat it. All right.
I'm almost positive. I would search the rules, but I don't think
Good,
it's that important. I'll let you do it anyway. Okay, so Antaeus has a queen instead. That's perfect. That's great. Okay, so I believe the queen is the highest natural card on the board. Your guys have the Joker. I'll let you. I'm not going to make that decision for you. So just tell me when you want to take all of your troops attack.
Okay, that's
They can do
our
it whenever
troops
they
that
want.
have the Joker. Oh, good. All right.
Yeah, that's yours. The enemy's got a Jack.
Okay. All right. So the dude that. All right. So we still got the guy on our side that's staggered. So I'm gonna first make an attack against him. Try to take him out.
Okay.
Oh, let's see.
Oh.
I'll use another Benny to re-roll that.
Okay. Using your second Benny.
That's even
Oh.
worse. I'm gonna use my third Benny and try it one more time. Come on, man. Oh my God.
Oh God. It's terrible.
Not meant to be.
That's brutal. All right. Well, so be it.
Use that Joker.
Yeah.
I can't.
I was going to actually say, so what I forgot to say is, so that when someone is shaken, shoot, am I making this up off the top of my head because I'm crazy? I think you might have advantage when someone's shaken. It doesn't matter. Basically, advantage just means you get +2, so you wouldn't have been hitting them anyway.
Yeah.
Their parry is 6. Yeah, no, you know what it is? You don't get +2. They are -2 on parry when shaken. That's what it is. But still, that puts them at 4, and you didn't get that on any of yours. You had a 1, a 2, and a 3. Okay.
Well, no, I
okay,
got a 4 on I got a 4 on my first fighting roll. The wild die was a 4.
Oh, the wild die was a 4.
Yeah.
I'm sorry then. So okay, so you didn't use your bennies. I apologize. Okay. You didn't use 2 of the bennies.
Yep. Oh, perfect.
Right? Or you didn't use any of them.
Well, I used 1 to draw my cards, so I should still have 2 bennies left at this point.
Right.
All right.
That's earlier. Okay.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right.
So you just hit him. So you have to roll the attack damage without no raise or anything like that.
Right.
So
Perfect.
Just double checking.
5 enough to wound him?
Well, he was already shaken. So yes, that is when you have to hit their. Wait, actually, let's double check this. Yeah.
But it beats his toughness, right? I guess is what I'm saying.
Yes, you're good.
Okay.
5 is the toughness on these.
Okay, cool. Nice. So that'll take him out, I guess. Sweet. Yeah, I was just trying to look under shaken, but it doesn't say that it does a -2. But I guess we can use it for each wound. A wild card suffers. Well, whatever. I guess we can go for it for this round. But Cool. Yeah. So I think I would have probably leapt over, and as you know, he kind of got his bell rung or whatever by Axios, I would probably come in and sort of like trip him with my spear, and then, you know, right down into his chest.
Nice.
Killing him there. Yeah. And then I would kind of look over to Hexos, and I would be, because the enemy on our side is now dead, right? But there's like a couple over on the other side. All right.
You are clear of enemies at this point.
Okay, and then I would be like, prepare. We must make sure none of them escape.
Understood.
All right. Cool. Yeah. So I guess that's my.
And Haran goes next, and Eshe, you hear up above you. He goes, "Teacher, they're not the only ones." And you see him pointing out kind of towards the peak. Like, you guys didn't realize it, but you're basically at the peak of this mountain. This copse of trees that you push through kind of opens up into a more cleared, rockier area, and the edge of the mountain is sort of right there, like 30 feet in front of you. And off there towards the cliff. Now, if you Eshe, look where he's pointing, you can see the shadowed shapes and the moon gleaming off. Unlike the ones that you've been fighting, you realize these that you see are fully bronze armored, helmet, large bronze shields. And you can see the moon, like, you can't totally make them out, but the moon kind of glints and it catches all across the armor in different places. And the pieces you can put together tell you these are elite hoplites that are across this opening. There is something in between you, but in the darkness, you can't quite make out what it is. Sort of looks like a fake tree, sort of. Like it's a pillar, but it's low.
Oh, no.
Only about 4 feet tall or so. And it seems to be shaped like, I don't know how to put this, maybe like the letter T, like it's straight up and then it sort of comes out a little bit. And that is between you and these men that you now see. And you can hear them too. You can hear the metal start to clank, clank, clank.
And how many does it look like?
From what you can see, there appears to be 5.
Okay. Haran, warn Gregorio and his group, and we will finish these off and join.
Yes,
join together,
okay, gotcha.
And then we will deal with these new problems.
Absolutely. And that brings up, you had the 10 of spades, I believe, right? And it goes, shoot, I always forget. What is it? I think it's reverse alphabetical order. So spade, right, spade, heart, diamond, club.
Yep.
So that means Eshe is up next, or any one of you can throw in the generic soldiers using the Joker card.
So I'll let the generic soldiers go.
Okay. So they're going to attack the last one on your side. That's what these are going to do. So that's... Oh, jeez, guys. Pathetic. Oh my God, they're the worst. You guys have the worst. They're not that bad either. They're pretty good.
So I move in on this guy.
Yep, that would be best. That would be best.
I move in, and so shoot, where was that? That was here, fighting. Ooh, I will spend Benny.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so that time you get a raise.
So I come in with my javelin again. There it goes. 6.
Nice. So that's a 6, which, yes, okay. So this guy is shaken. Wait, is the generic soldier stat set up correctly? Not sure if the fighting is showing up in ones.
I mean,
I wasn't sure if it was or not when I was clicking on it because it's just a bunch of zeros, so it just looks like it's
is
rolling.
it a D6 though?
Oh,
Like-
no.
Oh.
Oh, wait, +0. D6 plus
Well, no,
0.
that makes
oh,
sense
yeah,
because they don't have a skill modifier.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, everybody gets +0 on attacks unless I'm giving you like if you're surrounding the person, I might tell you guys have advantage because you're surrounding them, and then you click that, and then it would add something plus something.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
They
I know they're just rolling.
bad.
I mean, D6 isn't great at fighting, but to get all 1s and 2s.
Yeah.
I clearly need to train my troops better.
Yeah.
Some of these troops, they need to be trained up.
Sorry, General.
Oh yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I didn't. The generic troops are not really meant to be like hoplites because hoplites wouldn't usually go through the woods.
That's
So
right.
like we have a hoplite, the same stats that these enemies are going to have. You have those troops too, but they're down with the general in the valley, marching with their big old shields and stuff.
Makes sense.
So then actually, I'm going to actually roll for these. You have 2 left on Gregorio and Hexos' side. They are going to, they've been hanging around. They're going to throw their spears at the remaining shaken person next to Eshe. You guys are only like 12 feet apart. Oh my God. Oh, 4. Okay, so that is a hit. Finally. Let's see. See if he could take him down. It would be nice. I don't think I have that set up in here. We'll just call it this. A 4. Is that enough? Oh, wait a minute. That's not. It's a spear. I don't have that set up. Okay, so his spear is supposed to be 1d6 plus strength instead of 2d4 flat. So it's a d6 plus their strength, which is it enough? So it's a 3 plus, come on, 3 plus 4 is 5, yes. Okay, yeah, so that one you just wounded Eshe. You see suddenly a spear kind of come as that one is kind of stumbling a bit, and it kind of goes right through the side of him, and he drops in front of you. Yeah, Eshe, if you want to say your extra javelins are at the base camp, that's fine, but I don't think you removed them because the reason you were doing that was to get rid of your the -1.
Encumbered.
So
Yeah.
if you want to say that they're back at the camp, that's fine. Just make sure to go to your page, go to the basic info, and where it says total load carried. Oh, wait, no.
Could I just take the weight out of the equipment list?
Yeah, that's what you have to do. That's basically what you have to do.
Okay.
Just take the weight out of the equipment list.
That's
And then
still
that
got
should-
my main one, and there we go. Whoops. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so now, yeah, you should be good.
That
So you don't have javelins with you anymore, but you won't have the encumbrance penalty
right.
anymore
I have
either.
the one that I was carrying, but I don't have the extras.
Yeah, that's fine. That makes sense. I think 1 is fine to have as a spear, and you could throw it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that should bring up Anthony, I believe. Axios, who is last.
Yep. So right now, there is still you said the one person on our side that's
No, they're all down.
they got hit. Okay, so there's no more people.
Only the ones across the clearing.
How far is
now
that? Like I have a spear. That's all I have.
It's what did I say? It was about 25 feet.
Okay, so I can move up. Yeah, Hexos is gonna run and be like he's gonna kind of like He's in a this people were yelling, right? Like people were screaming as they got killed, like like people.
Yeah.
So he's gonna
The
scream.
usual groans.
Yeah, he's gonna scream as he's like running like super fast across this clearing, and he's got his big ass spear, and he's gonna try to jab one of the guys with it. So let's see here.
Oh shit! He's not throwing it. He's running up and trying to thrust at them.
Yeah, he's like running up and trying
now,
to do like a jab at them or whatever.
Okay, now listen. So maybe this will, as you approach, as you get like halfway there, you go like 12 feet.
Yeah.
You can very clearly now, in the light of the moon, see what it is that you're facing.
Okay.
And you're looking at 5 men. They all have their shields overlapping each other.
Oh shit.
Any melee attack on this kind of mini phalanx is going to suffer a -1. So just keep that in mind. So if you're running up, you're going to see that you're basically looking at a mini phalanx.
He's going to run into like a phalanx. So there's 5 dudes with little mini phalanx. Okay, shit. I can't throw my spear because that's all I have. So like if I lose that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to try to run behind them.
Okay, you're going to try to play. So
I want to flank them.
Okay, so roll for run.
Okay, how do I do that?
That's basic info. Right at the top, it's pace, and under about halfway across the row, you'll see the button for run.
Oh yeah, got it. Okay.
Excellent. Okay, so what that does is it adds whatever that D6 is to the 6 that you already get for your pace.
Yeah.
So it's saying together you have almost doubled your pace. You basically rolled a 5 on that D6.
Awesome.
So you're getting to move 11 inches, which translates to I believe that's times 3. I believe 11 inches. Each square is 1 inch.
33.
And each square is 5 feet.
Ah.
So you're actually moving pretty good. You can get all the way around them.
Okay. Yeah, I want to position around them because I want them to know I'm behind them, so they have to like break up the phalanx to some extent.
Yep.
To defend themselves.
And so what happens is, hold on, I have to actually give them initiative. Okay, it's low. Wait, no, I don't need initiative on this one. Never mind. I'll just say that's theirs for next time as a 4. So, but what happens is when you run around them, this is sort of a narrative thing, but the one all the way to the right, which let's say that's the side you ran around them on, the one on the right is going to kind of peel off, like his shield kind of starts to separate from the phalanx, and he sort of starts to track you with his eyes as you kind of go around him.
Okay, excellent. And I say, "Yeah, mine, buddy." And I guess that's all I can do this turn, right? I don't know what else I can do.
Yes, I believe so. So I'm going to, because your run takes the place of your action.
Okay, perfect.
Why isn't this a column? Okay. And so the enemies have a 4. I drew that early on accident, so I'm just going to write that in. Enemies 4. The rest of you can draw your card. Just let me, type them in like we've been doing.
All right.
And
Use that Benny. Well, actually,
Jeez.
Who got the ace?
nope, that's your troops.
Before the
That's our
Yeah,
troops.
that's
on.
All right. Well, we all get to go before the enemies, I guess.
Yeah, because
so
the enemy's
that's
got
good.
4, so there's no point in you rolling.
Truth.
And Haran got a 3. He's not really involved in the fight, but I like to keep him in there just in case. Okay, so that brings us to your troops. So where do you want to send them?
So, are we just facing that big phalanx at this point, or do we still have any enemies left?
No, that's it. Just the phalanx. One of your guys threw his spear. So actually, So you guys had 6. 2 of them are down, so you have 4, and one of them has no spear. So the one that has no spear, I'm going to tell you what his action is. He moves over to the corpse where he threw his spear and took that guy out, puts his foot on the guy's back, and pulls his spear back out. But that's his whole action, so he has to go take his spear out. So you have 3 guys that are up first, and you could tell me how you want to handle them, what you want them to do.
So, and obviously Axios has gone off doing something else. So
he's flanked them. I think you can see that. You certainly.
Great.
Well, you guys were only like 12 feet apart to begin with. So he was just like, you heard him all the way to your right, charge and run forward. And
Sure.
you are on the left-hand side.
Okay. Gregorio, take these 2 and go to that side, and we'll come around this side and we'll try the same tactic. Haran, I want you to make sure they do not light that fire if you can do anything to help it.
Yes, teacher, he calls from the tree.
And I think as Eshe is, telling us to try to flank these, fully armored hoplites, Gregorio's nervous. Like he's more of a skirmisher, if anything. And so he's like, "Are you sure this is the best course of action? They seem like they I don't know if we can take them." And then I kind of like point, and not with these men.
Sad. Do you have another idea, Gregorio?
Go back, call for our heavier troops. I don't know.
I think that would take much time.
Yeah, you can't leave me over here. Don't leave me all alone.
I feel like
Axios has flanked them. He's behind them. That should give us an advantage.
All right.
If you see an opening, take it.
All right. Come on, man. Cool.
So we split off to the left. So I've got the guy who used up his turn pulling the.
Got it. So it's you and the guy without a turn going to the left, and it's Gregorio and the 2 other guys with turns going to the right.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to give it over to you, Gregorio, to tell me what they do, because they go before you. What do they do when they go over to the right? Because you're going to tell them first, go right,
sure.
And they're going to go over there. Should they do anything when they get there?
Are they just have a spear? That's the only weapon they've got with them, basically?
They have They have a spear and a shield. They do have a short sword in their holster, but they've been using the spears.
They do. Okay. So then I would say, well, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm used to tracking and whatever. So I'm not a phalanx commander right now. So I would say, okay, go. You flank them. You get a position behind them. Make them turn. As long as they turn, we should be okay. I'm gonna stay closer to the center line. If they turn towards you, I'll charge in towards the middle.
And the 2 men, they take off to the right, and they're going to be approaching you, Hexos. They're kind of getting into your range. And as they do, one more of the phalanx kind of turns and breaks off, looking at them. Now, 2 men do not make a phalanx, so the 2 that have branched off are just 2 individuals. And the other 3 who continue walking, they sort of let their shields kind of come apart a little bit. There's only 3 of them. Doesn't quite hold the same effect holding your shield together like that in such small numbers. So they're kind of breaking apart their phalanx, and they're kind of moving a little bit like this, like, almost a jog, kind of the same way they were headed towards that pillar in the middle.
Okay. So how is it? I'm just trying to understand. The guys that are facing us, are they like running backwards with their counterparts? Or are they like standing there?
No, the 3. So the 2 that, well, it's not their turn yet. So I'm kind of narrating the way this looks. But they've turned and they're not moving forward anymore. Effectively, they're ready to fight you guys and to protect the back of these other 3.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay, great. So then are we still able to attack?
Those two are. They just moved over there. So
Okay.
yeah, they can attack.
Right.
If you tell me that you think that they would when that guy splits, then they will. And in fact, there's two of them. We can double check it.
Yeah, I would definitely. I would tell them to attack if it's 2-on-1.
There's also. I don't know if that meets the ganging up criteria. I'm trying to find that page, but this book.
Oh,
yeah. Come on. I was literally just on that page, and then I turned to get the stats for Haran's sling because I realized it wasn't in his page for some reason. Come on. Aircraft, nope, that's weapons. It's under, I believe it's called Combat Actions 72, maybe. Come on. There it is. Ganging up. +1 fighting per additional attacker. Maximum of +4. Perfect. Yes. So these two guys will add back the encumbrance negative for them because they're getting +1 fighting per additional attack on each of their attacks. So I will roll for them for you then, and they're each going to get +1.
If you roll 3s again, I swear to God, we got to stop using the dice roller.
Okay.
So true.
Oh my God. So it's a 2 and a 3. Wow. So they jab at this guy, and his shield is just ting, ting, blocks it. And that is going to bring up Eshe.
Awesome.
Yeah, I might have to jack up the regular stats on these guys a little bit. These are a little weak. This isn't quite cutting it.
Yeah. So I stow my spear and load my sling, and I look for cover, and I point to my assistant to do the same. So if I can find a tree or a rock or something that I can duck behind once I've taken the shot, and I'm gonna fire my sling at this guy, at one of these guys.
Okay.
Oh yeah, 6. That might not hit though,
Very
but
nice.
We'll see.
Well, it's ranged, right? It's a ranged attack?
Right. Yeah. So I did throwing. That's right, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm just saying, so ranged attacks are a little different. They don't go against parry.
Right.
They go against a flat 4. So the only thing that's different to that is that shields offer extra armor towards range shots.
They do.
But that actually applies more like a soak. So it removes 2 damage. It's because it's +2 armor to range shots that hit. So that hits.
Well,
Nice.
All right.
armor.
Wait,
no, armor isn't. I think shields add they don't reduce the damage. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, then
I think. Let me just double check.
I'm a little confused. I've always been a little confused by the shields and range because it literally says +2 to parry and +2 armor to range shots that hit.
Yeah, so I think what that means is because you use parry for melee fighting, so it's giving you the same 2 armor that you would get for ranged because your normal armor doesn't apply, I don't think, in ranged combat. Like if I'm wearing a breastplate, that will help me with. That will help me. Well, actually, I don't know. That's a good question.
That's even better than for you because if it's +2 armor, so if it's against the attack, which I think you're right. I don't know. It is worded very oddly. I don't know why it says that hit. Like, wouldn't you just add it? Like, it just means the target number is 6 instead of 4. So why word it like that? But let's say it is the target number is still 6, which you hit.
Sweet.
Okay.
So it's a successful
no
hit.
raise, just a flat.
No raise.
There we go. I did a lot of damage.
Okay. Now these guys are a little tougher than most. However, I still believe, is it a raise? It has to be 4 higher than 3 higher, I believe. God, I have to get better at this.
Oh, you're right. It adds to the toughness.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, so it says armor. This is the amount of armor provided by the equipment, which is added to the wearer's toughness.
It is toughness. Okay.
When the covered location is a character who wears multiple layers of armor only gains the highest. Okay.
Okay, so I think then. Okay, so then it's a shaken.
Okay.
You have shooken them because their toughness is 8.
Okay.
Yeah, their toughness is 8. So with the shield, it's 10.
So Chris, if you want, I'll trade action cards with you or adventure cards or whatever, because I got the one that doubles the total of a successful ranged attack.
Ooh, nice.
That would be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you trade it, and that's a 22. This guy is, he is done. That is
birdies.
That must have been a beautiful shot. So what does it look like?
To the rock. I'd probably just use rocks. I wind up, let it loose, and it goes flying through the air and hits him right in the temple, right in that tender spot, and he's just done.
Yeah, it's like a perfect coincidence. Like he had pulled his head quickly to the other side, so his helmet rocked a little bit, and the helmet just came up and hit where it would have been helmet, but instead caught flesh right underneath and just crushes the side of his skull.
Sweetness.
And boom, he drops. This was the middle one. So the other two just kind of look at each other quickly and sort of get lower. You know what I mean? And, just narrative-wise, they raise their shield a little bit. And they're still coming towards you, but they're way more careful.
Sweet. And I duck behind whatever cover there is.
Nice. So you have full cover for ranged attack.
Explode.
And that's going to bring up Gregorio, I believe, right? Not Axios? No. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, then, so I think my 2 soldiers split off that one guy, but they were unsuccessful in hitting him, right? And then Eshe was around the other side, like flanked on the other side. Okay.
Flanked on the other side. Yeah.
So I think what I'll do then is I will probably. I think what I'll do is I'm going to rush the guy that, not mechanically rush, but I'm going to charge in on the guy that, that my 2 soldiers were attempting to fight. So that I don't know if that adds ganging up or not.
It does, because they're still there. It's how many attacks are being taken on the same turn.
Sure. Okay. So I had a +1. Is that right?
No, it should be more. 1 second. It should be more because it's +1 fighting per additional attacker, maximum of 4. So now you're a total of 3 attackers. So it's going to be a +3 to you.
Is it +2 or +3? Because it says additional attackers, right?
You're right. So +2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. If that doesn't hit, I'm going to use a Benny.
I don't believe that does. Second, no, that does not. Their parry with their shields is 8.
Okay, I'm going to use a Benny then, and I'm going to try this again.
Now, I just want to throw this up before you use your Benny. I just want to remind everybody there are some attack options. That you may not be aware of. You can call shots, which are harder to hit, but you can aim for a limb. Like if you aim for a hand that's holding a shield and you do hit it, even though it's harder to do, they will drop said shield. They will drop whatever is in that hand. There's also things such as, where is it? I'm sorry. Targeting, you can wound a limb, but you can also disarm at -2 on the attack. And the defender makes a strength roll versus the damage, or drops the weapon. You can defend. You can add +2 to parry if you skip your action turn. I just throwing a couple of these out there, just to kind of give you guys some options.
And this is when people say that this is a rules light game. I say, no, it's not. This is where it gets crunchy if you want it to.
There is an entire page of summaries of attack options: suppressive fire, touch attack. So touch attacks, I believe, reduce your damage in half, but you add +2 to fighting, so it's way easier to hit them, but harder to do actual damage to them. All types of options.
Yeah, I think in this case, I'm not going, well, I don't know. What is a touch attack? That's just using, more like if you
here's another one. Wild attack.
Right.
+2 to fighting, +2 to damage, but you will have a -2 to parry on your next action.
Oh, that's fine. This guy's an NPC. So,
yes, he is. That's why I said it.
Well, I would still have to Benny though, because that would still only put me at a 7.
You would.
All right.
Yeah, you would have to use your last Benny.
I'll still use a Benny, but I will actually use a wild attack. So with the ganging up and the wild attack, that'll give me a +4. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Ganging up is regardless of what you do, so it can stack with anything else that you choose to do.
Did I get it? Oh, I did.
All right, and did you add anything to that, or do we still need to add the +2?
Nope, that's all added. Yep.
It's all added. Okay.
So I got the 8.
So that is an 8. That hits.
Yoo-hoo! And you said +2 to damage too?
+2 to yes, because of the wild attack.
Okay. All right.
Beautiful. That shakes him.
Yeah. Blah. Take that. Oh, no.
Boom. So what do you whack him with the spear?
Yeah, I think probably maybe what happens is I go and I like bring my spear in, and he was like blocking their spears, right? And then I come in and I like whack him on the side of his helmet with my spear, but he's like ducking out of the way at the same time, and so I kind of clip him, but not enough to like stab him, but it definitely rings his bell a little bit. He's like,
yeah, he's a good warrior. Like he defended against you, but he was trying to keep his eye on the other 2 at the same time, and he just couldn't keep his eye on all 3 of you. Clunk, boom, right upside the head.
Take that.
Okay, so keep in mind that enemy's parry is reduced by 2.
Okay.
Yeah, it should be reduced by 2. Okay, and that is going to bring up Axios.
Sweet. I'm gonna charge that dude right now.
Yeah.
No. Keep in mind though, you still have another one. There's 2 over there. So now 1 is shaken, and that was the one that was looking at the other 2 guys. The one that had originally broken off and is grilling you down. He's still healthy and grilling you.
Got it. Yeah, why not? I'm gonna go for him. It's just the one guy, right? And like right there. And like one of the 3 is looking at me. Okay. Why not? I'm gonna do a wild attack on him. I'm mad.
Okay.
So do I add modifier 2? Do I do that in the modifier?
Anthony, Sam did.
Yeah, that's the way I did it.
Yeah, you
got it. So
you just added in the plus.
Fighting +2. All right. Holy moly!
Wow! That's two raises, right?
Holy snakies! Holy crap.
wow!
Yeah, that's
How does that work?
Well, he definitely gets a plus or another D6 on his damage.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a raise. It's a raise. You can only single raise, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. You can only raise once.
Okay.
I mean, you
that's
can
a raise.
raise more than once, but it only, in terms of damage, it only adds 1d6.
Right, exactly.
Got it. Okay, damage. Go!
Wow.
Sweet.
Holy. Yeah. That's okay. So
It's just like,
wow. Wow.
Nice.
Holy
I'm
crap.
kind of wow.
Yeah, that's pretty much appropriate.
Okie doke. Well, okie dokie. There you have it. This guy just got whacked. Holy moly. Okay. So yeah, he's down. And you got this guy shaking. Okay. So now it is their turn. Yes, it's their turn.
Is he
Okay.
dead yet, that guy? Or no?
Yeah. He's dead. Absolutely. Yeah, that was.
I like ran and shoved my spear through him, and I'm like, ah.
So unless I refer to a NPC as a wild card, they all only have a 1 wound threshold. So essentially, if you wound them, it's not a wound; it's fatal. 1 wound equals dead. It's only when I say someone's a wild card, which is what you guys all are, that they can have more than 1 wound. Usually, like you guys have 3 wild cards. So if you're facing someone equally as skilled as you and equally as important, they will have 3 wild cards, but some 3 wounds. But sometimes you'll say someone just has 2 wounds. But not these guys. These guys are really high-powered mooks. So they only get 1 wound. You just annihilated this guy. So the two that are left that can move are going to. One of them is going to peel off towards the thing in the middle, while the other one continues to move towards Eshe. But Eshe, you have that other soldier with you, and he's kind of guarding you in front of your cover. And so this soldier approaches him, shield out. The other opponent gets ready, and this guy strikes, and it's a D8. Oh my God. Okay, so he raises on his hit, and that's going to be his.
Use the regular dice, and they get their.
Oh.
So Rory, those aced, right? Right. So that
yeah,
first
the first one did.
Yeah.
The first one did.
The
they
second
don't have
one
a
was
wild
a
card
D8.
stick.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. If they were both D8s, they don't get a D6. Only wild cards get D6s.
Yeah. No, I thought that second one was a D. Yeah. All right. That makes sense. Cool.
Yeah. So he got 6, 8, 9 damage, and the toughness, I believe, on a generic soldier is only 5, if I'm not mistaken, which means he just wounded him.
Which means he.
It's 4,
right?
Oh no, 5. He has the armor, so it's a 5. Yeah. So Eshe, like right in front of you, this soldier that you took with you sees this guy coming towards you, and says, "I have him, Eshe." Puts his shield out in front of him, and tries to come up towards this guy. And it's sort of like if you've ever seen the movie Troy, where Achilles fights Hector. This guy kind of sees what he knows to be an inferior warrior stepping towards him, and he sort of gets very loose and casual, like a cat, like a tiger or bobcat. And he looks lithe, and soon as your soldier kind of puts out like a defensive jab with his spear, he sort of rolls, takes his, he like chokes up his spear to halfway, takes his shield, blocks the generic troop's shield, and then just kind of rolls in close, and boom, comes back with the spear up underneath the soldier's neck, and just boom, and then just pulls it out. And that's the end of his turn, and he's looking at you now as well. He's looking where he knows you are, splattered in the blood of your ally. Meanwhile, the other one is you can't hear it over the din, but his hands are moving furiously. He's trying to do something. The third one needs to make a spirit roll. What is their spirit? It's a D6. That's a 4. That just makes it. Okay, so let me just double check. I know they changed the rules on this. I think the book says one thing. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, these are the rules. So I just want to give anybody listening and you guys kind of the update. So in the book, when you're rolling to be unshaken, you make a spirit roll. 4 is the success. And by the book, it says if you fail, you remain shaken, which means you can only make free actions. You can move. You can't draw your weapons or attack or anything. A success means you're no longer shaken, but can still only perform free actions. And if you raise, which of course is only really possible if you explode the 6, the character is no longer shaken and may act normally. They have since changed the rules to say if you succeed, you can go ahead and attack. I don't really play that way. What I like to do is say you still have to do a little bit better than just succeeding to attack. So the way I do it is if you roll a 4, you're not shaken, but you still can't attack yet. If you roll anything higher than a 4, then you're free to start attacking again. That's sort of a homebrew rule. I just don't like, I thought they made it a little bit too lenient, so I kind of pull it back a little bit. So this guy, you can see him though, Gregorio, he shakes his head, it's cleared. And where he was kind of tense and a little bit wobbly, he shakes his head and he seems to regain himself, but he sort of like he sort of backs up like this, and he's still watching all 3 of you. He doesn't take his attack.
Nice.
And so that is going to, so Haran, you hear him, Eshe, he's just to your right. He says, he's trying to light the signal fire. I'll take him out. And this guy thinks he's going to take one of these guys out, I guess. So he,
no.
So you hear
Get him,
from his sling,
Whoa.
oh my God.
Good boy.
What the?
There we go.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's just
Attaboy.
your guys, the other guys with spears couldn't get more than a stupid 1 or 2. And this kid rolls this. That's ridiculous.
Kid hunts
I just
rabbits, man. If you can get a rabbit, you
So
can
he got a
turn
raise
person.
on that too.
He did, I know. Wow. Holy
Amazing.
cow. Oh my God.
Oh,
That was not supposed to happen.
So cool.
So this guy is hunched over. Oh my God, I can't believe this kid has the most basic stats and a sling. This is ridiculous. This guy is bent over and sort of like the seam between his breastplate and his helmet is revealed. And this stone just comes whipping in from the sling and hits him right in the neck. And just you hear,
Yep.
I think it's like a contusion. Like he wailed him so hard that the swelling is choking him. He's not dead on sight, but you can consider him dead for any mechanical purpose. He's effectively holding his throat, trying to breathe.
Wow. Aaron for MVP.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Good grab on
Nice
Aaron, man.
shot put on.
Awesome.
That's crazy. Okay. So, yeah, we have to, you guys draw one last time.
All right, I'm still showing
Well,
a card
probably
face up. Did you reset
Yep.
the cards?
Yeah, I just pulled everything back. I should have anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as long as you're
Is it-
showing 54 or whatever. I'm
It
sure it'll be
says,
fine.
when I hit recall, it says unplayed 54, so I think
Okay.
we're good.
Alrighty.
It's just the same thing where it's leaving some things out for some reason. Oh, don't leave your can of soda next to the computer. It gets so warm.
So how many soldiers are left? Just
Nice.
2 at this point?
So there's 2. There's the
Okay.
one that just became unshaken,
Yep.
and the one that just killed the one that was over by Eshe, the one that just killed that guy.
And so Haran he took out a separate guy? Or did
He took out the one that had moved towards the pillar in the middle.
Okay, great.
That was
Yep.
a third guy.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, previously you had killed one,
Yep.
and Eshe had killed one. I'm sorry, not you. You had shaken one.
Right.
Hexos killed one with a wild attack, and Eshe killed one with the adventure card.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's you three. This one is your troops. Your troops. 9. This is their troops. Queen. And Heron.
All right, Axios.
Okay.
Hexos. It's up to you.
Yeah, well, Europa got the
Oh,
ace.
actually, Europa got. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah, Eshe's up.
Eshe got the ace.
Right.
Sweet.
Now, Eshe, you are considered close quarters at this time with the guy near you. He's close enough to where you take a penalty on ranged in close combat. It actually now equals their parry.
I stow my sling and switched back to my javelin, and I guess I want to see how this goes first. Okay, I'm gonna use a bit.
Oh, why are you still getting encumbrance?
I don't know. I thought we.
Yeah, something might not have clicked. Let's just add the 1 back into it. It'll be easier than doing anything else. So it's a 5 and it's a 6.
Okay.
Those don't hit though. Their parry
They
is
don't
8.
hit. Okay. So I climb over the rock or whatever I was hiding behind, and maneuver behind him, but in the maneuvering I get air instead of him.
Right. Okay, so now you are
fighting
closer to the middle than him. Like you've put you were on the outside of the circle and he was coming at you. You've climbed over the rock and put yourself on the inside of the circle with him on the outside now.
Nice.
Is that kind of like what you were trying to describe? Like you jump over the rock and get on the other side. Okay.
Yeah, I was
Perfect.
trying to get behind him.
Perfect. Okay, so that is going to bring up Axios. And right now, your troops are not able to move in yet. But they're already at that guy. So actually, Axios, so you have 2 possible targets at this point. The one that was just shaken, if you attack him, you guys are ganging up on him because he already has 3 people around him. If you move in on him, that's going to be a 4th. That'll give everybody attacking him a +3 to attack. But you would also be able to notice, just from the sounds of battle, that Eshe is squared off against one of these, elite hoplites on her own on the opposite side of the circle, which is about 20 feet away.
Okay, I'm gonna go for the shaken guy. So
He's not shaken anymore.
Sorry, the guy that we can gang up on. So
Cool. Yeah.
I'm gonna do another. I'm enraged. I have blood all over me from the guy I just killed. I throw his body off my spear. I whip it so his body flings off, and then I wildly attack this guy that I'm ganging up on. What would I apply a modifier for that to my fighting?
Yeah, you're going to end up applying a total of, it's going to be +3 for ganging up, +2 for the wild attack. So it's going to be a total of +5.
Okay. So I attack.
So I'm glad we had this type of fight. This was the idea because I wanted you guys to start using these sort of attack options because they can make enemies that seem like you can't possibly clear their parry. You can start to do it when you use these strategies, and you guys are doing it great. So that is a raise because their parry is 8 and you got 4 above that.
Awesome. Okay, so I will raise on the attack. And then damage. Ah!
Okay. So that is, that just raises because their toughness is 8. So you got 4 above that. So that is a wound, an automatic wound. So this guy finally shakes himself off. He's squared off against 3, and then all of a sudden, this other guy comes running in. And, he's just like, oh no. He stumbles back, I think, on his heels. So what do you do as this guy kind of falls backwards? How do you end it?
I imagine like I take my spear above my head and I jam it down into his like throat area, and just through his shoulder, like it kind of goes through his neck.
I think you actually miss his neck, but because you're coming down and he's going down, you actually hit his breastplate, and the spear just punctures through the bronze. It's like it's too thin for all the weight, and boom, right into the bottom of the neck, like where the clavicle is.
Love it.
So does that leave just one enemy?
That is going to leave just one.
And we have...
They thought they had this.
Three of us and still 2 of our soldiers left. Is that right? So that's 5 against 1?
That is correct. Yeah, 5 against 1.
All right.
Plus Iran.
How does he... What's that?
I said plus Iran, technically.
Yeah. How does he react to that? Seeing, he's basically surrounded by 5 guys and all of his dudes went down.
Well, I think he looks. So actually, that's a good point. Is it his turn?
Yes, I believe so.
Oh, that's perfect. It is. Yeah, it's a queen. So he's now on the outside. Like, Eshe is between him and the warning pillar, which is what that is. Now that you're all kind of, you can see that there's a fire preset. All they have to do is light it.
Yep.
He sees Eshe is between him and that, and you guys clearly outnumber him on the other side. He looks around. He's seeing that all the death. And this guy is going to, let's see. Yeah. He's going to
not let him run.
Drop his spear, and he's going to run. Not his spear. He's going to drop his shield. Sorry. The shields are very heavy. He's not dropping his shield. Spear. He drops his spear, and he's going to try to run away. Meta-wise, I'll tell you guys my thinking. If he can't light the signal fire, he's going to try to get away so he can get back home and warn them before you guys do whatever. He doesn't know what you're here to do, but...
Yep.
So he takes off.
Crazy. And is that my action next?
That, I believe it's you, yes, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Okay, so I believe that I can throw my...
Wait, I'm sorry. It's actually the 2 troops you have left, technically, if you want them to do something first.
Okay, do they have any skill in throwing?
They can throw.
Okay, then I would say, throw your spears, men, throw your spears, kill him.
Okay, so these 2...
and if it's possible, I would have them take the aim action, so they won't move, but they'll get +2 to their attack.
Yep, I will do that.
And if he's running, like if he's turned away, do we get any bonus for that? I don't know.
I actually think... Oh, you know what? Here's the thing, though. No, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to re-roll these. He would have made it far enough to be out of their range. They would have had to have moved closer to throw their spears.
Oh, okay.
I believe the spears have a range of, let me just double check. That I'm not lying. The spear is, it's only 3, 6, or 12.
Okay.
So, and 12 would be at -2.
Okay.
So, to be honest, they really won't have a shot to hit them. They can try.
Can they? Can they get in and make a melee attack on him then?
They can run after him and see if they can get close enough to do so on the next turn.
Yeah. Okay, then that's fine. I'll tell him to do that.
But
chase him down. Man.
Yeah, because he ran. They would have to run to get closer. Okay. Wow. Okay, so they at least maxed out theirs, so they're catching up. Yeah. Wow. They're both wow. Now they can roll? Jesus. Where was this before? Okay, so the 2 men take off. They're gaining on him a little bit, but he had a little bit of a head start.
Yep. All right.
He was like 15 feet ahead of them to begin with.
Okay, so Gregorio has a bow, but he doesn't have shooting. He's got throwing. And yeah, see, my bow could probably hit him, but so I would take a minus. What was it? Would it be if it's unskilled? It would be a -2.
Right. It's a D4 -2 if you're completely unskilled with it.
But I could aim, but I'm still only rolling a D4. That's not worth it. I guess I'll chase him down as well. Try to run after him. Yeah, because I don't think I can get him otherwise.
Okay. Okay, so you're right there with your troops. The three of you are gaining on him a little bit.
Nice.
I believe that means we actually have to recall and... Well, no, you know what? That's not what we're going to do. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to use the chase rules.
Also...
I have actually, I got to be honest, I've never used the chase rules. But this sounds like about exactly when you do that. So, let me see. Now, if I could just find that rule in the book, that'd be the best. There it is. Okay. Chases. So, I'm going to determine the length of the chase. We're going to say at maximum, this is going to be a 10-round chase because a 5-round chase is the minimum, and that's only 1 minute of time. So it's going to be a 10-round chase. It could be any amount of time. I'm going to say each round is equal to a half an hour. Chase cards. So at the end of the last round, any prey who has otherwise been stopped or captured, escape and pursuit ends. Rather than dealing action cards as usual, have everyone roll the appropriate maneuvering trait as listed below. Okay, so it's a foot chase, so you'll be rolling agility.
Agility, okay.
Success. Participants draw a card for each success and raise on the maneuvering trait roll. And keep one, usually the highest, as their action card. This determines not only their initiative, but how well they manage to maneuver. Characters who don't score at least a single success remain in the chase, but get no action card that round. Making a maneuvering trait does not require count as an action. Advantage, a character with a higher card than a foe is said to have advantage over him. His abstract speed may add 2 to his rolls. If he or his vehicle has a higher top speed than his opponent. Nope. Advantage is level-headed. Okay, so this is difficult terrain. We're going to take turns rolling. Him, then you guys, him, then you guys. We're going to be rolling agility because it's a foot race. And everyone is going to apply a -2 for difficult terrain, including him. So his agility, let me see, is 6. This is actually where he's not the best, because even though his fighting is 8, that's unnatural. That's above his natural skill setting, so he's actually only has a 6. So some of you guys, especially Eshe, I believe, might have a significant advantage on this one here. So here's the way it works. You guys are close enough to where this is the way I'm going to do it. We're going to take turns rolling the dice. If you match a 4, you get 1 card. If you get a raise, so 8 or more, you get 2 cards. You keep the highest one. If you guys as a group have 2 advantages on him in the same round, so in other words, if 2 of you are beating his card at the end of a round, you're going to catch him. Okay, so I'm going to roll for him first. Don't forget to subtract the 2. Wow, he has a -1, so he gets no card. All right, so everybody else roll agility.
We put -2 in the mod.
-2 in the mod, yeah, because it's difficult terrain. You're running down a on-trailed mountain.
Can I use a Benny here?
You can.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
I will
Eshe,
too, actually, if that's all right.
go right ahead. It's your last one. Oh, wow. Axios, nice on that one. Okay, so, wow. Okay, so you guys are going to catch him because he didn't get a card, and you guys are getting a total of 3 cards, 2 for Axios, which will be 1 because he'll pick the highest, and 1 for Eshe. And so that's going to be 2 advantages over his nothing. So yes, so you guys are running down the mountain. The 2 soldiers, one of them falls. You lose them as you continue running. The other one is kind of getting a little sluggish and falling behind you. Eshe and Axios, you're going to kind of pull out ahead, and kind of simultaneously, you guys kind of like catch up to him. You're like on the sides of him. I'm going to give you guys this choice what you want to do. You can, at this point, basically you will need to make an attack, but you can, if you'd like, make a non-lethal attack if you want to try to knock this guy out or take him captive or anything like that. But his parry is reduced already because he's not carrying his shield. Plus, he is running from you, so I'm going to give him a -2 beyond that because he is literally trying to get away from you and is not looking at you at all. And so he has a parry of 4 right now.
So if we wanted to just grab him, like tackle him, how does that work?
You make a unarmed attack. So that is in skills. No, it's just fighting. That's right. It's just fighting. Okay. The only time unarmed comes into effect versus using a sword or something like that is in the damage. So you would still make a standard fighting attack. Okay. And to make something non-lethal, you literally just declare to the DM that you're making a non-lethal attack.
Okay. So I'm thinking that I did try to take him down so that Gregorio can finish him off.
Nice. Okay. So take a fighting attack on him.
Okay. Just roll.
Yeah, I would for unarmed. Yeah, you're right next to him.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that is a raise. So you are able to take whatever non-lethal, like if you want to say you tackled him to the ground right now.
Yeah.
You can do that. You can also actually, you know what? I think the best way to put this would be in the attack options grapple.
Okay.
I think that's the best. Why do I constantly lose that page? I believe it is page. There it is. Grappling. Opposed fighting roll to grapple opponent. Raise opponent shaken. Okay, yeah. So you make a grappling attack. A raise equals shaken. So this opponent, you have him prone on the ground, unable to attack without shaking, without removing his shaken effect.
Okay, so do I roll strength for that, or?
No, you don't have to because you raised on the attack. So it says opposed fighting roll to grapple. Oh wait, no. So he makes a fighting attack. Give me 1 second. It's fighting attack. Oh wow, it's still a raise. So you beat his and went 4 over.
Nice.
So yeah, so that's how it's supposed to work. Yeah. So so you tackle him and he kind of turns himself while you're tackling him. He was kind of expecting it. He heard your foot thump, thump, thump. So he kind of turned just as you did it and tried to put his arms up and stop you from being able to grab him up. But you come in low. You take his legs out. He hits the ground. The wind gets knocked right out from him. And he is shaking on the ground. Hexos, you're right there as this happens. What do you do next?
Yeah, we want to. Hexus wants to take this guy back for questioning to find out where the enemy force is at.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, that's easy. You guys have like lots of little bits of like leather thong and things like that. So I imagine you basically, he's on the ground. knocked out. You kind of rough him up. You take some leather, you tie his wrist together, and you stand him up. He's spitting mad. You guys are well. You guys tell me. You've lost some people here, and some of you almost died.
Axios would probably tell him, "You killed our buddies, but don't worry. Your blood, your body will serve in their place. You'll come to like it too." And I spit on him.
Oh. And I think I would come over and I would be like, Axios, please. Now's not the time for that. And I would say, I'll watch him, but we do need to clean up our camp. We can't leave traces here of all these bodies. Perhaps and we're on like the top of this like mountain area, right? I'm like, well,
you've run down it a little bit, but if you backtrack to where you were, you'd be up at the top of the mountain.
Like I say, either we bury him or we throw him over, but we got to get rid of the dead bodies.
The thing with the flame, the signal fire stand, does it have an hollow interior?
Not like in the base, but like at the top.
Big enough to put bodies.
So like it's oh no, it's not that big.
Yeah.
Imagine something like it's only like 2 feet by 2 feet square with like a bowl at the top of it. It's not massive.
Mm-hmm. I like where your head's at.
Throwing them down a ravine or something is good.
I do like where your head's at. Yeah.
Oh, that's my kind
I
of
think
savage.
like a ravine or something sounds great then. Yeah.
Well, it was our goal to Hex. I'll say it in character. Hey, do you want us to stay here at HJ and guard this area while you go back and tell the general and the commander that it's clear to bring the host up? We'll make sure no one comes up here and does any dilly-dally. We'll make sure we guard the fire.
That's actually a really good idea. That's a good idea, Hexos. Haran, you and I will make our way, and we'll bring everyone else.
And Haran is kind of like, he's down from the tree now, and he comes scurrying over. He goes, "Yeah, okay, teacher." And he looks over at Gregorio, who Hexos, who he's found he kind of likes to joke around with and tease a little bit. And he goes, "Just remember, Hexos, no matter how cold it gets up here tonight, try not to light any fires."
And at that, you would see Gregorio just being like, kid's right.
Just when I was getting hungry, too. Try to cook some dinner.
Good work, men.
And so what we're going to kind of end off here is I'm going to give you a little narration interlude. So Eshe and Haran make their way down the mountain and back into the valley, and they find that by the end of that day, Axios, the host, and Antaeus have reached sort of the base of that mountain where they had just had that fray up at the top. And you're, welcomed warmly. Axios is happy to find out that they, will not know of your coming, hopefully, yet. And the last scene we're going to see is just the following morning. Axios has led the host up that same mountain. They sort of spread out as they walk up this mountain. And Axios, you reach the peak kind of just as the sun is really getting, like you weren't able to see the sun the whole way up, right? Because it was still so low and the mountain is right in front of you. But as you crest the top, you can see the sun appearing almost below you, seeing it rise over the landscape. And right as the camera is about to fade away, there is this strong glint on the roof of a pale white large building, which sits inside of a walled city directly at your feet that you can now see at the base of this mountain. You know, it's far away. You know what I mean? Like there's this mountain, and then it kind of leads into another mountain and down. But if you go straight down, there's this city, and the sun is glinting off this large state house building, and you can see Pelios, the jewel that you've come for, down there within grasp. And that's where we will leave off for this session, as we prepare for the assault on Pelios.
Awesome.
Huzzah!
Very cool. Man, that was a lot of fun. I love how Savage Worlds can just like so easily accommodate, you know, shifting to like NPCs or you know, other characters that, you know, and you don't skip a beat.
It's one of my favorite aspects because I hate the rule of don't split the party.
Yep.
Because if you play by a don't split the party rule, this sort of campaign would make zero sense, right? Like,
Yeah.
Axios is a general. He would never go up and attack a possible signal fire area in, you know, as a risky maneuver. He's a general. He would never do that. So either I would not be able to let any of you guys play generals, which I don't think is super fun, or you would have to do this sort of thing where generals make unreasonable attacks on people for no reason other than because the rule is to keep 4 people together.
Yeah.
So I love this, the way that this kind of thing works. And I hope you guys had fun playing Gregorio and Hexos. I don't know if it's as fun to play them as your main characters, but
I like Texas.
I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah. We pulled it out. I mean, it worked. Yeah, that was a lot of fun for sure. It's just different. Like it's a fun role playing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was cool
Good.
too because we were chatting about how the military kind of lifestyle would be that Aisha would not have a lot to do otherwise. So.
Yeah, and I like that Aisha got to kind of play like the leader role in this, you know, in this part.
That was fun.
Yeah, and it all fit. Antaeus was the leader in the diplomacy, which makes sense. He's a higher rank. That's exactly what he should be handling. And when it came time to flanking a signal fire, you send up the grunt, which is unfortunate. I mean, it's better than being a slave, which is what you were, but now you are a grunt, and that's your job. And you did a good one.
Yeah.
So, yes, congratulations to the army. Now, of course, let's hope the cavalry doesn't take too long, because otherwise you might have more people coming up here. Who knows? But right now, you're in a pretty good position to invade Pelios. Hope it goes well.
Me too. Cool.
Fabulous.
Awesome.
So if anybody wants to pitch anything right now, I'd like to give them a moment. Tell us about any of your channels or any modules or anything like that. And then otherwise, Sam, I'm going to leave it to you to take us out because it's you on the controls.
Sweet. I'll go last. So talk amongst yourselves.
Rory,
Yeah, Rory, thanks again for having us, man. And you know, I'm just wanted to say I had a great time playing Savage Worlds. For those of you watching who play D&D 5th edition, I'm coming out with 2 modules, the Heir of Orcus versus 1 and 2. That'll be premiering at AetherCon on November 9th through the 11th, and then it'll be on sale at DM's Guild on November 13th. Really, really cool art and direction that we're going. All the people here have play tested it. So there's some videos out there already on that, but I appreciate the help they've given me to make the module. I think what's going to be a really cool product for you guys to enjoy. So look forward to that. But otherwise, thanks again, Roy. Look forward to playing next time.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you get a chance, get in on that game of Anthony's. It's awesome. And like Sam plugged earlier, we'll have Zombie Genesis next week, which we're all excited about. And yeah, thank you so much, Rory. This is awesome having a chance to get familiar with Savage World. It's been really fun.
Savage.
Awesome. Rory, did you want to plug anything for yourself? Or
I have nothing
like
to plug because we don't know when this next game is going to be. I am guessing it might be sometime around maybe the 3rd of November, which would be 2 weeks from now. But we still should discuss that. So I would just say, everybody, keep an eye for the next and last session. of the invasion of Memnonia. And we will get back to you on when that is. And that'll wrap it up for me.
Yeah. And we don't have any
Sam.
siege weaponry as far as I know. So, you know, a walled city, hopefully we can draw them out. But yes, this was great. Thank you. If you guys are interested in seeing a version, I believe it was verse 1 of Anthony's early playtest. It's changed a little bit since then, but you can find that over on my channel, Chalice and Chains. As Chris said, we're going to be doing the Zombie Apocalypse one-shot next week here, 8 p.m. Eastern in Genesis. That's going to be sweet. I did put the little trailer video to it in the beginning of this one. So if that confused anybody, sorry, we're not playing zombies tonight, obviously. But that's going to be great. I'll also put that out probably, I might put that out tomorrow live on the channel and promote that. So keep an eye out for that, but that's going to be great. We're going to live stream that. You can also expect to continue to see live streamed games on the channel here. So definitely tune in for those. And in 2019, we're hoping to bring a series of campaigns to the Unnamed Production Company, various systems, various GMs, whatever. And hopefully we will also get some more Eberron Genesis in the works here in the next few weeks, maybe a few months. We'll see. Could be into next year, but who knows. And so with that, I'm going to bid everyone a farewell and a good night, and we will see you next week for Route 66 versus the Zombie Apocalypse. Bye, everyone.